Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Naruto. I just returned to Konoha and found that everyone in the clan was gone. Chapter 1. In the early morning, the sun has not yet risen, and mist fills the entire land. Shenyu Izumo and Gangzati came to the gate of Konoha village and started a new day's work. Gangzati yawned. It seemed that he was still missing his bed. Seeing his friend's tired look, Shenyu Izumo joked, "What did you do again last night?" "No way. I just overread the novel yesterday." "What novel? Can you be so fascinated by it?" Shenyu Izumo asked. "Hey, let me tell you, this is Jiraiya-sama's new work." Gangzati stretched out his palm and lowered his voice a lot. Ta-da! While the two were talking, there was a sound of footsteps at the door. The two looked up and saw a boy with black hair coming in front of them. The boy is about 14 or 15 years old, and is 177 centimeters tall. His slightly messy hair is pleasing to the eye, and the bangs in front of his forehead slightly cover his pupils. Looking at his immature face, you will subconsciously feel that he is younger. Kamizuki Izumo subconsciously looked at the boy's forehead, which was not wearing the forehead protector of Konoha village, and thought that maybe he was a person from his village who was about to hold the Chunin exam in Konoha or an ordinary person who came to join in the fun. "Hello, what are you doing in Konoha? Which village are you from?" Kamizuki Izumo asked according to the rules. The boy raised his head slightly, revealing his pupils hidden in his bangs. His unusually sharp eyes made Shenyu Chayu and Gangzati tense up instantly. They suddenly realized that this boy was no ordinary person. "I am a Konoha ninja who has just returned from a mission," the boy said and turned sideways. The two of them saw Konoha's forehead protector hanging on his waist. However, the forehead protector looked a little worn and looked old. "There is no replacement. Are you a companion in the village? Why haven't I seen you?" Gangzati did not let down his guard because he saw the forehead protector. Logically speaking, the boy was not old. He most likely had not become a jonin when they did this job. Most of the people in the village knew him and had never seen him. The boy saw the two men who were somewhat alert and said, "There was an accident during my mission. I drifted on a deserted island for a long time. I just came back now. This is a mission assigned to me by Hokage himself." It was reasonable to hear what the boy said, but the direct address to Hokage was a bit awkward. Kamizuki Izumo continued. "Then we will report to Mr. Hokage. Please wait here for a while." Then he signaled Gangzati to report, and then continued to ask, "I haven't asked you what your name is yet, so we can report it to Lord Hokage." "My name is Uchiha Yellen." After hearing this, the boy directly reported his name without thinking too much. When they heard the boy's name, their expressions changed instantly. Gangzati even stuttered a bit. Are you from the Uchiha clan?" Listening to Gangzati's words, Uchiha Yellen frowned. He had been away from home for so long. Has the prejudice against Uchiha in the village not changed yet? "Shisui, what on earth have you done?" "That's right, I'm from the Uchiha clan. Is there any problem?" Yilan looked a little impatiently at the two people. His black pupils quickly rotated and transformed into a 3 Magatama Sharingan, paired with his already sharp eyes, like a released ferocious beast, making the two of them suddenly tense. "Still a 3 Magatama. Don't be excited. We are also surprised to meet people from the Uchiha clan. Come on, I will take you to see Master Hokage." Shenyu Izumo saw the 3 Magatama in Yilan's pupils and waved his hand quickly, indicating that he should follow. "Own. Accident." Yilan was a little surprised when he heard what the other party said. "Does Uchiha rarely go on missions now?" "Well, you should have been away from the village for a long time. Mr. Hokage will tell you the details." Izumo Kamizuki didn't want to explain too much. There were some things that Chunin couldn't say. In the Hokage building, Sarutobi Hiruzen was preparing to start today's work. The holding of the Chunin exam made the already busy work even busier. He had no time to use the telescope technique to relax. Boom, boom, boom. There was a rapid knock on the door. Hiruzen Sarutobi frowned. Who was so panicked this morning? He took a puff of cigarette and said, "Come in." After hearing the request to enter, a Konoha ninja wearing sunglasses ran in a panic. Sarutobi Hiruzen knew that this ninja, Yamashiro Aoba, was not usually a very stable ninja. "Sir Hokage, Gangzati told me over the radio that there is a ninja who has returned from a mission today. Because he stayed outside for a long time, he needs you to verify. Yamashiro Aoba said breathlessly. Is Jiraiya back? The first thing Sarutobi Hiruzen thought of was his apprentice, but in the blink of an eye he felt something was wrong. Gangzati should know Jiraiya. The name of the ninja he said came back as Uchiha Yellen. Yamashiro Aoba took a breath and added. You must have heard correctly. Sarutobi Hiruzen's expression changed instantly. He remembered the name Uchiha Yellen. He also remembered that this boy was Uchiha Shisui's younger brother. He was only 10 years old on Shisui's recommendation 5 years ago. Yi Lan participated in an S-level mission. The content of this S-class mission was to spy on the inside information of Kurigakure village. Kurigakure village had been closed off after the war. It was unknown what happened inside the village, so Hiruzen Sarutobi sent a team to carry out this mission. In order to ease the conflict between Uchiha and the village, Shisui proactively recommended his younger brother to participate in this mission. Uchiha Yellen, a genius who has a double Magatama Sharingan at the age of 10. All the ninjas on this mission have not returned. Anbu, who went to inquire about the news, reported that all the people on this mission encountered a sea storm that was rare in 100 years. They must have died. Afterwards, they didn't pay much attention to it. After all, Uchiha the whole family is gone. I just didn't expect that after all these years, Uchiha Yellen would come back. How should I tell Uchiha Yellen about the problem of the Uchiha clan now? We went out to perform a mission and all the members of your clan were gone. The only remaining survivor is the younger brother who killed everyone in the clan. Thinking of this, Sarutobi Hiruzen felt a little pain in his head. After thinking about it, he said to Yamashiro Aoba, go and call Danzo and the 2 advisors. After hearing the order, Yamashiro Aoba hurried to find Danzo and 2 advisors. Uchiha, Yi Lan. After Yamashiro Aoba left, Sarutobi Hiruzen took 2 deep puffs of cigarette, feeling extremely thorny and troublesome about what was about to happen. It didn't take long for the door of Hokage's office to ring. Come in. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at the young man who entered the room. Although his appearance had changed a bit, he would not admit his mistake. Yellen, thank you for your hard work. I didn't expect that this mission would cause such huge losses. Sarutobi Hiruzen's originally stiff face became gentle. Sir Hokage, you're welcome. Uchiha is also a member of Konoha. It is my responsibility to complete the mission. Yellen said, taking out a scroll from his arms. Maybe the information is a bit out of date, but the mission assigned by Mr. Hokage is my responsibility. I also tried my best to complete it. Hiruzen Sarutobi took the scroll curiously. Kurigakure's seclusion for several years prevented other ninja villages from finding any useful information. This time, Yi Lan was able to bring the information back, which was regarded as completing the mission. The major events that have happened in Kurigakure village in recent years are that Zabuza failed to assassinate Mizukage and became a rebel ninja, and now he died at the hands of Kakashi. Konoha actually doesn't know much about the current situation of Kurigakure village. The information Yi Lan brought was actually more important than he thought. Sarutobi Hiruzen quickly browsed the contents of the information. He didn't pay attention at first, and was still looking at Yellen's situation. But the more he read, the more surprised he became. Is this information true? Sarutobi Hiruzen still couldn't believe the information Yi Lan submitted. Kurigakure actually massacred families with blood inheritance boundaries, and civil strife broke out. As the 4th Mizukage, Yagura is the one who personally implements this policy. This situation is indeed true. Kurigakure village at that time can be said to be extremely chaotic. Moreover, Kurigakure village also promoted that people in the bloodline are scourges and monsters. Except for the Jonin who resisted at the beginning, the rest were wandering on the streets. The orphan. Yellen said solemnly. In the final analysis, this is a conflict between the family and the village. Mainly, he did not expect 4th Mizukage to be so extreme. Thinking of the relationship between Uchiha and the village, what Yi Lan fears most is that this kind of thing will happen. Are you resisting? Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Yi Lan with a faint expression. The information this time is very valuable to the village. What do you need, Yi Lan? The village here will definitely reward you. Quote. I haven't thought about this. I've been away from home for a long time. Master Hokage, I just want to go home for a rest and see other clan members. After all, I haven't seen them for a long time. Yi Lan thought for a moment and half seriously speak your mind half-heartedly. Don't be so polite. The village will still need young people like you in the future. I remember that in addition to fire, you also have 2 attributes of water and wind chakra. Yes, Shisui asked me to teach you some water style when we were on the mission. After all, I'm going to Kurigakure village to perform a mission. As he spoke, Sarutobi Hiruzen took out a sealed scroll from the bookshelf next to him, unsealed it without avoiding Yi Lan, and then threw it directly to Yi Lan. Open it and take a look. Yi Lan was a little confused about Hokage's enthusiasm, but he still opened the scroll calmly. The reels show a series of water-style ninjutsu, water-style water shockwave, water-style water dragon bomb, water-style wave rider, and water-style water break wave. In fact, Yi Lan had already learned most of these ninjutsu during his mission in Hidden Mist Village, but Yi Lan did not show any dissatisfaction. It's just that Hokage's attitude has given him some bad premonitions. Hiruzen, what did you ask us to do? With a bang, the door of the office opened directly, and walking towards him was an old man with a cane, a cross scar on his chin, and a bandage on one eye. The old man Yellen recognized was Shimura Danzo. Shisui had been working under him before. The 2 men and women who seemed to be about the same age as Shimura Danzo should be the Hokage consultant, Mito Manabu, and the transfer Kaharu. Remember to knock on the door next time. Sarutobi Hiruzen glanced at Shimura Danzo angrily, then picked up the scroll Yellen gave him before and said, "Do you remember that S-class mission 5 years ago, the one to investigate the intelligence of Kurigakure village?" Danzo was a little confused when he heard that Hiruzen Sarutobi mentioned old things again. The 2 advisors also listened patiently to Hiruzen Sarutobi's story. Originally, I thought the mission had failed. The search and rescue team sent at that time also found the wreckage of the ship that was destroyed by the storm. I thought that all the people involved in the mission were killed. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at his old friends with an intriguing look, but today, a survivor returned to the village and brought information about Kurigakure to Konoha. Danzo and the 2 advisors also understood that the reason why Hokage left a young man here was probably the survivor. Danzo couldn't help but glance at the young man, but he felt a little familiar and felt inexplicably irritable inside. This survivor is the one next to me. He was only 10 years old when he participated in this mission. He broke the age limit for participating in S-class missions and successfully completed the mission. When they heard that this survivor was only 10 years old when he participated in the mission, Danzo and the advisors seemed to have thought of something and stared at the handsome face of the black-haired boy. I have already given him the reward for this mission. I hope you will continue your efforts, Uchiha Yellen. Hiruzen Sarutobi turned around and said to Yellen. Just looking at Sarutobi Hiruzen's complicated eyes, Yi Lan felt something was wrong. Especially after hearing what Sarutobi Hiruzen said, the entire Hokage office seemed to be without these 5 people, and it was extremely quiet. I would like to thank Mr. Hokage first. If nothing happens, I will return to my clan first. In the end, it was Yi Lan who took the initiative to break the silence. Wait, just when Yi Lan said this and was about to leave, Hokage and his 4 people called him at the same time. Yi Lan turned around in confusion, wanting to ask if there was anything else, but the 4 of them fell silent again. Just when Sarutobi Hiruzen was mentally scolding his old classmate for not being responsible at the critical moment, Shimura Danzo spoke. If I remember correctly, you are Shisui's younger brother, right? Yi Lan nodded. After so many years, many things have actually changed, especially your Uchiha clan. Hearing that there was a problem within his clan, Yi Lan suddenly became nervous. He hadn't been away for too long, so he wondered what happened. Let me tell you. Sarutobi Hiruzen saw that his friend had already started and left the rest to him. Actually, not long after you went on the mission, Shisui disappeared. Missing. Where? Yi Lan felt bad. It's in the village, but we searched for it for a long time and couldn't find it. There's no body and no information. It's like the world has disappeared. Sarutobi Hiruzen said seriously, but some witnesses from your clan said at the time, the last person Shisui met was Uchiha Itachi. Itachi. Yi Lan thought of the child who was 2 or 3 years older than him. He was taciturn and looked very worried. He was called a genius and was the son of the clan leader. However, he did not get along well with the people in the clan. Only Shisui I usually look for him when I have nothing to do. So if you want to know Shisui's whereabouts, do you need to find Itachi? Yi Lan asked patiently, suppressing the discomfort in his heart. I'm afraid there are some difficulties. Mito Kadoyan said at this time, Itachi is now an S-class rebel ninja in Konoha. What did he do? Yi Lan knew that the S-class rebel must have done something that seriously damaged the village. This dull-looking man seemed to have a lot on his mind. I'd better continue talking about your brother's disappearance. Hiruzen Sarutobi glanced at Mito Kadoru with dissatisfaction. After your brother disappeared, people from the police department also approached Uchiha Itachi. At that time, there was a big fight between the two parties. The fight ended with Uchiha Itachi apologizing, but so far he has never said that Uchiha Shisui's disappearance was related to him. Hearing this, Yi Lan probably understood that Shisui was probably gone, and the murderer was most likely Uchiha Itachi. If so, then Itachi probably had those eyes. Then, Yelan's voice became dull. He knew that this alone was not enough to judge Uchiha Itachi as an S-class traitor. Something else must happen later. Uchiha Itachi may have resentment towards the Uchiha clan. He teamed up with a mysterious man to slaughter the entire Uchiha clan overnight. Sarutobi Hiruzen said with his last breath. Are you kidding me? The rage in his heart could no longer be suppressed, and he had lost his respect for Hokage. The cold and biting black chakra burst out from Uchiha Yelan's body. The bangs on his forehead were constantly blown by the airflow, and the three magatama in his pupils slowly it seems that it can be transformed into other shapes at any time. Yelan, please don't get excited. I feel deeply saddened by what happened to the Uchiha clan. But we still have to solve the problem. Sarutobi Hiruzen was a little surprised by the temperament shown by Yelan. The explosion just now was beyond Ju. Although most Jonin don't know their specific strength, they are definitely not weak. Perhaps after listening to Hokage's words, Yelan's mood gradually calmed down. He closed his eyes and thought about the behaviors and actions of these people since he entered the village. What happened to the Uchiha clan is definitely not that simple. Although he is only 15 years old, Yelan has been. He also received 9 years of compulsory education from Blue Star. You can't just believe what others say. Slowly opening his eyes, the magatama in his pupils had disappeared and turned into normal black. Sarutobi Hiruzen and others also breathed a sigh of relief. I'm going to visit the Uchiha clan's cemetery. When Yi Lan came to this world, her heart was full of curiosity and expectation. He has never heard of such a ninja world, where people can use the mysterious power called chakra to perform a variety of dazzling ninjutsu. However, fate dealt him a heavy blow. His mother passed away shortly after giving birth to him. This caused the young Yi Lan to fall into a period of sadness, but fortunately he had an older brother who loved him, a grandfather who taught him ninjutsu, and a group of friendly and enthusiastic tribesmen to accompany him as he grew up. The existence of these people gave Yi Lan endless warmth and support, and also allowed him to gradually get over the pain of losing his mother. Yi Lan also gradually identified with this group of tribesmen and felt proud of being an Uchiha. When Shisui was here, Yelan said to him more than once, some things cannot be changed simply by relying on personal will. He knows that the world is complex and ever-changing, and people's thoughts and behaviors are often affected by various factors, is not entirely a personal decision. While Shisui always naively believed that he could do everything, Yelan shook his head helplessly, saying that this was almost impossible to achieve. However, Shisui firmly believed in his ability to make both parties understand each other. Yelan was very confused by this and felt that he was simply a fool. My stupid brother. This is the cemetery of the Uchiha clan. Hokage personally followed Yi Lan to a cemetery. It is not far from the previous Uchiha clan land. You can also see the dilapidated houses of the Uchiha clan. There were no names engraved on the scattered tombstones, and Yi Lan looked at Hokage with some confusion. Ahem, basically all the Uchiha clan members were killed in the battle, and those who buried them were all Anbu people. They didn't know the names of the Uchiha clan people, so they didn't write down their names. Mito Kadoyan immediately interjected from the side when he saw it. Not wanting to hear such lame excuses anymore, Yilan was sure in his heart that things about the Uchiha clan were definitely not that simple, but he just noticed a detail. Basically all of them were killed, which means there are survivors. Yilan asked. Sarutobi Hiruzen once again glared at Mito Kaden, coughed twice and said, "There is indeed a survivor named Uchiha Sasuke. He just graduated this year and just became a genin." Uchiha Sasuke. Yilan laughed so angry that he was very familiar with this person. Isn't this guy the younger brother of Itachi? The elder brother massacred a clan, and the younger brother became the victim. And with the power of Uchiha Itachi at that time, even if he united with others, how could he solve so many jonin in the police department overnight? What happened to the Uchiha clan, and what role did you play in it, Shisui? There was too little information, and it seemed that he had to look at the village of Konoha again. Sasuke was also rescued by Anbu's people. He happened to be practicing shuriken outside at that time. He came home late to avoid being poisoned. Sarutobi Hiruzen held his hands on the Hokage hat. Master Hokage, I want to ask you for a favor. Yellen stood up and said, I want to apply to become a jonin and accept the task of hunting down Uchiha Itachi. No. Before Hiruzen Sarutobi could speak, Danzo Shimura, who had been standing by, refused directly. Hokage-sama, now Sasuke and I are the only ones left in the entire Uchiha clan. I graduated from a ninja school at the age of 9 and became a chunin at the age of 10. I then performed S-class missions. I think there is no problem with my strength. And there are people outside. There is an S-level Uchiha Itachi, and Konoha doesn't even have an Uchiha Jonin. Although those daimyo nobles didn't say anything, they will definitely have some opinions in their hearts. Yilan knew that saying such things would definitely make the Hokage group unhappy. Or afraid, but now that I don't have any information, I have to climb up. At least Jonin can access some confidential information to restore the truth about the annihilation of the Uchiha clan. What nonsense are you talking about? The daimyo will care about you, the Uchiha clan. Shimura Danzo was a little angry. As expected, there are no good people in the Uchiha clan. Yilan looked at Shimura Danzo and narrowed his eyes slightly. From the beginning, he didn't have a good feeling about this elder Danzo. This person was definitely a subject of serious suspicion. Okay, Sarutobi Hiruzen interrupted Danzo's complaints and said after a moment of silence, as for Jonin, you don't have enough missions. Please lead Genin to do more missions later. I will give you the appointment of special Jonin later. Quote. Hiruzen. Danzo Shimura's face became angry when he heard that Sarutobi Hiruzen was going to agree to this boy's request. Originally, he had planned to use Yilan as a knife inside his root. This matter has been decided. Hiruzen Sarutobi set the tone, and Mito Kadoyan and Koharu had no objections when they saw the matter like this. Hiruzen, you will regret it. Danzo, I am the Hokage. When Danzo heard the word Hokage, his hand holding the cane trembled, and he gritted his teeth and left the scene directly. Afterwards, Mitoman and Koharu left not long after. It seemed that the matter was resolved for the time being, and only Yellen and Hokage were left in the end. The joint Chunin exam will be held soon. I am going to let you serve as the examiner for the second exam. Sarutobi Hiruzen Yuyu said about his future arrangements for Yilan. Joint Chunin exam. Yilan remembered the appearance of his previous Chunin exam. This time there will be candidates from Sunagakur village, including 4th generation Kazekage, as well as some nobles. Konoha's security must be done well by then. Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed. This time the Chunin exam had to be taken, not only to show off his muscles, but also to strengthen his alliance with Sunagakur. He didn't want to have another ninja war on his deathbed. His old bones would definitely not be able to bear it. Follow Master Hokage's arrangements. Yilan did not refuse. He understood that if he wanted to get something, he had to pay first. I have arranged a place for you to stay. Anbu will take you there later. There is nothing going on here, so I will leave. I am no longer as good as you young people. Master Hokage, I would like to ask, who is Sasuke's teacher now? Yellen asked a question that Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't expect. Hitaki Kakashi. Sarutobi Hiruzen said without thinking too much, looking back at Yellen. Understood, thank you, Master Hokage. Walk slowly. Hearing Yilan's thanks, Sarutobi Hiruzen bowed. The next day, Yellen, who was resting at his residence, received his letter of appointment as Special Jonin. Hello, Yellen-kun, my name is Yamashiro Aoba. Here is the appointment letter and some ninja equipment. Please check them. What came to Yellen's residence was a Special Jonin wearing sunglasses. In addition to the appointment letter, he also brought a ninja vest, clothes and a new Konoha forehead protector. Yi-lan looked at Yamashiro Aoe, who was a little nervous, nodded and took all the items. Ignoring the ninja equipment, he opened the appointment letter and made sure it had Hokage's signature. He put the appointment letter away and found that Yamashiro Aoba had not left yet and asked, "What else do I need to do now?" "Ah, by the way, you should pack up now. There will be a meeting about the Chunin exam later. You don't know the location. Lord Hokage asked me to take you there." Yamashiro Aoba calmed down and said, "Then wait for me for a moment." Yi-lan turned around and entered the room, put on a dark slim coat, tied the arm guards he usually used on his hands, and then put on his customary combat boots. Konoha's forehead protector hung casually around his waist, less than 2 feet long. Finished in minutes. Seeing the reappearance of Uchiha Yellen, Yamashiro Aoba looked at the ninja vest he just brought and said, "Is this all right?" Although Konoha does not clearly stipulate that ninja vests must be worn except when war breaks out, many Special Jonin and Jonin will wear their own comfortable clothes, but people like Yi-lan don't even look at it, and Konoha's forehead protector is hung casually on his waist. Really never. Forget it, just take him to the meeting place and my task will be completed, Yamashiro Aoba thought. When they were about to arrive at the place, Yamashiro Aoba clearly felt that the eyes around him were obviously looking in his direction. To be precise, it should be Uchiha Yellen. That clan emblem is. How could there be? Yamashiro Aoe felt something was wrong, and looked back at Yellen. He walked expressionlessly, as if he didn't hear the comments around him, and directly past Yamashiro Aoe, and then said, "What, are you there yet?" Quote. At this time, Yamashiro Aoba saw the Uchiha clan emblem on the back of Yellen's coat. Although it was not big, it was only a small area behind his neck, but it clearly showed his identity. Yamashiro Aoe adjusted his glasses, and immediately speeded up and walked in front of Yellen again. Come on, we're here. "You understand why I summoned you," said Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was sitting directly above. "Sure enough, the time has come," a female ninja with red pupils said. "So when is it exactly?" 1 week later. Hiruzen Sarutobi picked up the cigarette rod and took a deep breath before saying, "That's really anxious." A silver-haired ninja sighed. "For this joint examination, nobles from other countries will come, so the safety of Konoha depends on everyone present." Hiruzen continued. Kakashi was distracted during Hiruzen's tirade, and suddenly found that his friend Metkai stabbed him from behind. "What's the matter, Kai?" Kakashi whispered. "Look, Kakashi, the kid in the corner, doesn't the clan emblem on the clothes he wears belong to the Uchiha clan?" Kai also suppressed his voice knowing that the occasion was wrong. However, several familiar Jonin around heard Kai's words and couldn't help but look at Yi-lan in the corner. He has black hair and black eyes, and the Uchiha clan emblem is printed on his dark coat, which is unmistakable. At this moment Sarutobi Hiruzen said, "Then the examiner in the second exam will be Mitarashi Anko, and the examiner will be Uchiha Yellen." Uchiha Yellen. When this name appeared in Sarutobi Hiruzen's mouth, everyone present looked at Yellen, with curiosity, confusion, questions, hatred, and gloating, all kinds of looks that made people feel uncomfortable. "Quiet. Do you have any questions?" Hiruzen showed his majesty as a Hokage, and instantly some of the whispering ninjas also shut up. "Well, I want to ask what's going on with this Uchiha ninja." One ninja still raised a question. "Uchiha Jonin. He carried out a long-term mission before and just returned to the village recently, so there is nothing to make a fuss about." Sarutobi Hiruzen pointed out the ninja's thoughts. In fact, he also told the people present that Yellen had wiped out the clan in Uchiha. He had left the village on a mission before. But this did not satisfy everyone's curiosity. Jonin, although Hokage did not say whether it was a special Jonin or a formal Jonin, he was also a core figure in the village. This guy looked so young, and now there were more doubts in his heart. Yi-lan turned a blind eye to other people's gazes and comments. He stood there quietly, like a sculpture. At this time, a hand patted Yelin's shoulder, and a kunoichi in her early 20s said, "It seems that your boy is my new colleague. I didn't expect that you are a handsome guy from the Uchiha clan." Yilan resisted the urge to knock off the hand, looked at the woman in front of him who was wearing an earth-colored coat and a pineapple ponytail and said, "Mitarashi Anko Jonin, please give me some advice in the next period of time." "No problem. No problem. I was worried that you would be hard to talk to. I'll treat you to 3-color meatballs later." Mitarashi Anko patted Yilan on the shoulder several times. "I didn't expect this Uchiha to be so easy to talk to." "Okay, so do you have any recommended genin for this exam?" Sarutobi Hiruzen quickly missed the topic and asked the Jonin who led the team. Although Kakashi and others were surprised, they quickly reacted and announced the names of their subordinates, genin. "Okay, I understand." When Hiruzen was about to dissolve the meeting, someone suddenly interrupted him. "Sir Hokage, although I am a bit nosy, those students are all students I have taught. Although I admit that they do have some talents, it is still too early. They should perform more tasks and train themselves." The person who spoke was none other than Iruka. "When I became a Chunin, I was 6 years younger than Naruto is now." Kakashi knew who Iruka was most worried about. "Naruto is different from you. Hey, Captain." Ignoring the quarrel between Iruka and Kakashi, Yelin took the initiative to talk to Hongdu. No honorifics were used, and Anko didn't care. "What's up? Is there anything you need to say about the second exam?" Don't worry so much about work. There is only 1 week left. Let's just arrange it in the examination room later. The main thing is to monitor whether there are any cheating students during the examination." Hongdu said. "Well, if there's nothing else to do today, I have some personal matters that need to be dealt with." Okay. Before Hongdu could finish speaking, Yelin took steps towards Kakashi's direction. "What Iruka said is not unreasonable." Hiruzen looked upset at the two people who had been arguing. "Then let's prepare a preparatory exam for them." Preliminary exam. Before Iruka could react, Yilan walked directly in front of him. "Then, Hokage-sama, leave Uchiha Sasuke's preliminary exam to me." "I didn't expect Hokage-sama to agree to this," Kakashi said looking at the boy behind him. "Hokage naturally has his considerations." Yilan looked at Kakashi walking in front of him. He had heard a lot about Kakashi's deeds when he was in the village, especially since he was not from the Uchiha clan and had something like Sharingan. He has a great influence within the clan. Shisui has mentioned his name before, but Kakashi is the only one who can use Sharingan to such an extent. "I know what you are worried about. Master Hokage has told me what happened 5 years ago. I won't bother a child." Yilan noticed Kakashi's inner worry and pointed it out directly. "You're obviously not that big." Putting aside the complaints in his heart, Kakashi felt a little relieved when he heard Yilan say this. "You and I will go see him directly later, or will you arrange it yourself? Just watch him for a while. Don't worry, I won't hurt him." Yilan had some thoughts in his mind and a smile appeared on his face. "Don't go too far. They are my subordinates after all." Seeing Yilan's smile, Kakashi's heart rose again after he had just let go. "He is your subordinate and a ninja of Konoha, but don't forget that his last name is Uchiha. What do you want to do?" Kakashi suddenly became alert. "Don't worry, Kakashi." Seeing Kakashi's appearance, Yelin was silent for a while and said, "My attitude towards him depends on his attitude towards Itachi." Just as the sun was shining high, the 3 genin from Team 7 had been in a daze on a bridge in Konoha village. Why did that guy call others out and keep them waiting for him? Pink-haired Sakura was the first to complain unbearably. That's right. Naruto on the side also echoed, while Sasuke standing on the side looked at the 2 people who complained about Kakashi and just felt that these 2 guys were so energetic early in the morning. "Hey, good morning, everyone." Just when Naruto and Sakura were complaining, the belated Kakashi finally arrived. "Today I lost my way on the road of life." "You lied." Naruto and Sakura no longer believed this nonsense. "Well, actually, I'm also handling things for you." Without any embarrassment of being exposed, Kakashi walked directly in front of the 3 of them. "Actually, I recommended the 3 of you to take the Ginseng and Chunin exams." He took out 3 application forms and said, "Here are the application forms. Chunin exam." Sakura has not yet reacted. Let me talk to you first. This exam is not mandatory. It's up to you whether you take it or not. Kakashi continued. That's great, Mr. Kakashi likes you the most. Unlike Sakura, Naruto hugged Kakashi excitedly. Okay, if you agree, just sign the application, and you'll be at school in 5 days. Kakashi let go of Naruto and said. In the Chunin exam, it seemed that he would encounter many strong opponents. While Sasuke was still thinking, Kakashi said, Sasuke, someone is looking for you. Snap, before Sasuke could react, a hand patted his shoulder from behind. Just as Sasuke was about to turn around, a murderous aura that made him tremble came from his back. Uchiha Sasuke, what is Uchiha Itachi to you? Standing behind Sasuke was Yelan. At this moment, he released the chakra in his body without much reservation. A dark, cold feeling instantly occupied the entire bridge. Still in the shock of this murderous aura, Sasuke heard the name that made him want to be cut into pieces. He instantly lost his mind, his pupils began to become smaller, and his color began to turn red. Kakashi-sensei, what, this, is going on? Naruto's feet began to tremble, and Sakura couldn't bear it and collapsed on the ground. This was even more terrifying than the time they met Zabuza. This kind of speed cannot be clearly captured without the use of Sharingan, and the amount of chakra is too exaggerated, more than 10 times that of the average Jonin. What has Yelan experienced in these years? He is only 15 years old and is already far behind his peers. Too many. Speak, what does Uchiha Itachi mean to you? Yelan looked at Sasuke in front of him. To be honest, he was a little disappointed. At the age of 12, he couldn't even be considered a Chunin. At this age, it didn't matter whether it was Shisui, Itachi or himself. They are both existences far beyond their peers, and both have Sharingan with 3 Magatama. Although Sasuke has the reason for being released into the wild by the Hokage, his strength is too high. I forbid you mention this name. Sasuke endured the discomfort caused by the murderous aura and did not think about why Kakashi didn't take action. He took out a kunai from his ninja bag and saw the Sharingan in his pupils. Keep spinning, pick up the kunai and stab it behind you. Yelan easily grabbed Sasuke's arm that waved the kunai, and then put away the murderous aura in his body. I almost understand what you are thinking, but just because of a name can make you lose your mind. Sasuke, you will never defeat Itachi like this. Yelan put down Sasuke's arm and said. Sasuke still wanted to speak, but Sharingan was stunned when he saw the 3 Magatama in Yelan's pupils. Who are you? You attacked us as soon as you came up. I want to teach you a lesson. As soon as Naruto saw that he could move freely, he rolled up his sleeves and was about to rush towards Yelan. Naruto, don't move. Kakashi stopped Naruto with one hand. Under the puzzled looks of Naruto and Sakura, he slowly said, that person is Sasuke's clan brother. Yelan. Sasuke couldn't believe it. Uchiha had other survivors besides him, and he was somewhat familiar with this person. Yelan is 3 years older than Sasuke, but Yelan had already graduated early when Sasuke entered school. In addition to going out to perform missions, he often practiced with Shisui at the Uchiha clan's training ground, and Itachi often went to see Shisui. When Itachi took Sasuke to the training ground with the two of them, Yelan even laughed at Sasuke because he still needed his brother to carry him on his back because he was so big, so Sasuke remembered it in his heart. When Yelan went out to perform the mission, he came to Uchiha Fugaku's house with Shisui to say goodbye. After the night of the genocide, Sasuke remembered that Yelan was still out on the mission and was lucky, but he was informed by Hokage that the mission failed and everyone died. It seems that you still remember me. Yelan did not show any happy expression, and then said to Kakashi, Kakashi, I will take Sasuke to the tribe. After saying that, he motioned for Sasuke to follow him. Kakashi didn't pay attention, and Naruto started to complain, what? Even Sasuke's brother can't be so rude. Teacher Kakashi, I have never heard that Sasuke has such an older brother. What is going on? Sakura asked in confusion. He's a clan brother, not a real brother. Yelan has been out on missions for many years, and he just came back recently. This time he just happened to meet Sasuke with me. Kakashi said casually. But I feel like Sasuke is also surprised. Sakura still wanted to know more. She felt that Sasuke was surprised not just by Yelan's arrival, but also by other reasons, and by the Uchiha Itachi whom Yi Lan spoke of. Who is he and why is Sasuke so angry? Okay, that's it for today. As for the Chunin exam, you can think about it yourself. As a teacher, I can't give you much advice. I will definitely take the Chunin exam. I will definitely become a Chunin. Right, Sakura. Naruto's obsession with becoming a Chunin was ignited from this moment on. Sakura looked at the excited Naruto and shook her head helplessly. By the way, Mr. Kakashi, what about Sasuke? He should agree to take the Chunin exam. Naruto was still a little worried about Sasuke's departure. He still hoped that all members of Class 7 could take the Chunin exam. Sasuke, don't worry, Yellen will definitely let him participate. Kakashi explained, by the way, Yellen is still your examiner for the second session. This is revealed to you in advance. That guy with facial paralysis is the examiner. How old is he? Naruto said unconvinced. Yellen didn't look much older than him. Uchiha Yellen should be 15 years old now, but he has become a Jonin. Logically speaking, you Genin should call him sensei. And you also felt his strength just now. I can tell you that Yellen is better than what you have encountered before. Kill to be strong, Kakashi ordered before leaving. 15 years old. Jonin. Stronger than Zabuza. The Zabuza he met during the previous mission opened up some of Naruto's horizons, but he didn't expect that there would be someone who was about the same age as him but far stronger than him. Thinking that he had just I can't even move my feet in front of others. Now that I have a better understanding of the gap between myself and Jonin, it seems that I need to work harder. Sakura, on the other hand, was thoughtful in Kakashi's words. She is 15 years old and has been away on missions for a long time. What happened to the Uchiha clan? Sasuke followed Yellen's footsteps and came to the Uchiha clan's former homeland. Now he still couldn't believe the fact that Yellen was still alive in the world. He was thinking about what to ask but didn't know where to ask. Sasuke. After arriving at the tribe, Yi Lan turned around and the Sharingan in his pupil slowly turned. Tell me, what did you see the day Itachi killed the clansman? That day, after hearing Itachi's name, Sasuke clenched his fist tightly, as if he was remembering something painful, and did not dare to look directly into Yi Lan's eyes. Uchiha Itachi graduated from the ninja school at the age of 7, became a Chunin at the age of 10, entered Anbu at the age of 11, and extended his weapons to the tribe at the age of 13. Sasuke, do you think you can complete your revenge with your current status? Yi Lan Xuanshu revealed what he knew about Itachi. I can. Sasuke looked directly at Yi Lan and said this time. You're just a half-hearted Sharingan. You can't even make a 1 Magatama or a 2 Magatama symmetrical, so don't laugh it off. You guy. Sasuke gritted his teeth and began to move his hands, which was a prelude to forming the seal. You think I won't hurt you, so you keep provoking me. Whoosh. Even though Sasuke stared at his Sharingan, he didn't see Yellen's movements clearly. Yellen directly grabbed Sasuke's hand that was about to form a seal. The first thing I want to tell you about becoming a good ninja is that you can be angry, but you must stay calm. Your mentality will only be exploited by the enemy. After saying that, Yellen put down Sasuke's hand and moved on. Sasuke looked at Yi Lan's back, his anger calmed down slightly, and he followed Yi Lan's footsteps. When Sasuke followed Yi Lan to the tomb of the Uchiha clan, Sasuke's eyes widened. He did not expect that all the Uchiha clan members were buried in this place. Except for your parents' cemetery, you probably haven't been here before. Yi Lan squatted in front of a tombstone and whispered. Most of the people buried here are ordinary people from the Uchiha clan. Do you know how many there are? Sasuke looked at Yellen blankly, not knowing how to answer this question. 1257 people. I counted them one by one last night. Among them are the Japonica aunt, the hand-burning uncle, and the medicine-flavored grandpa. They are all gone. The one who buried them was Anbu from the village. Even the tombstone was engraved with I can't even name it. Sasuke, I actually want to confirm one thing now, that is, did you see Uchiha Itachi attack anyone in the family with your own eyes? When he heard this number, Sasuke was still shocked. Sasuke's feelings for Itachi had always been complicated. He might even have expected Itachi to have something to hide, but when the number 1257 people appeared in front of him, he suddenly felt that his hatred for Itachi was not even half as strong as Yi Lan's. I came home late that day. When I returned to the clan area, I saw the corpses of clan members and some traces of fighting everywhere. I just wanted to go home. Sasuke knew that he could not escape the past. Holding his forehead and thinking, he described what he saw at that time. Yilan did not disturb Sasuke when he talked about so many irrelevant things and listened patiently. When I returned home, I only saw my parents lying in a pool of blood, and Itachi. Itachi had the ninja sword in his hand, and it was covered in blood. Sasuke seemed to recall something terrible. Start squatting down. You haven't seen Itachi do it himself. Yilan frowned. No, although I didn't see it with my own eyes. When I was still asking about Itachi, he made a move on me and used his Sharingan to cast a genjutsu on me. In that genjutsu, I saw Itachi kill with my own eyes. My parents. Sasuke continued, when I woke up from genjutsu, I just wanted to run away. I didn't have the courage to fight him. Itachi didn't kill you. Yilan's pupils were shining with red light. No, he seemed to have said that I would not go to him until I have eyes like his. After saying that, Sasuke seemed to be unable to support his body anymore and fell to the ground with a plop. Things seemed to be getting more complicated. What was Itachi's purpose in leaving Sasuke? What was the reason that caused Itachi to do such a heartless act? And even if Itachi united with others, how could the two of them be like this? Killing all the people of the clan in a short period of time, even Itachi couldn't do it so quickly even if he had Mangekyo, and how could Konoha not react at all to such a big movement? What role did Konoha's Hokage faction play in this absurd and incredible night? According to Sasuke's words, Yellen could only analyze so much information and put away the Sharingan. In order to get words out of Sasuke, he could only use genjutsu. At present, it seems that Sasuke only knew the surface of what happened that night. Some information. Sasuke slowly opened his eyes, and what he saw was an unfamiliar ceiling and an unfamiliar bed. He sat up suddenly and looked around, filled with doubts. Are you awake? Suddenly, a familiar voice came from the corner of the room. Sasuke turned around and saw Yilan leaning quietly in front of the bedroom door, looking at him calmly. Sasuke was stunned, not knowing what to say for a moment. Seeing this, Yilan saw that there was nothing wrong with him and then said, "Don't be stunned. There is food on the table. After eating, go to the training ground. I will wait for you there." After that, he turned and left the room, leaving Sasuke alone. People were in a daze. It took Sasuke a while to come to his senses. He got up and walked out of the room to the living room. At a glance, I saw hot meals on the table, exuding an alluring aroma. However, he did not move his chopsticks immediately, but stood silently in front of the table, his eyes gradually dimming. Yilan saw Sasuke coming to the training ground and said directly, "Sasuke, what do you think is the most important thing for a ninja?" "A powerful technique," Sasuke answered after hearing Yilan's question. Yilan shook his head and said, "On this basis, you cannot become a Chunin. The most important thing about a ninja is intelligence. No matter how powerful the technique is, there are ways to break it. When you master all the intelligence of a ninja, then killing him will be easier than you think." Sasuke suddenly raised his head and looked at Yilan when he heard this. "Yes, I'm talking about Itachi." Yellen mentioned the name again inadvertently, wanting to see Sasuke's reaction. This time Sasuke didn't yell, but his slightly trembling hands revealed that he was not at peace inside. Yilan sighed after seeing it and continued, "Not only that, every ninja must learn to hide their own information, even if you know a certain kind of powerful ninjutsu, but if others know about it, you will be on guard, so some of the trump cards you think can be solved in the eyes of others." Quote, "Actually, your teacher Kakashi is pretty good at this, but you haven't learned it at all," Yellen said, raising his left arm, biting his right thumb and leaving a bloodstain on his left arm. Seal, unlock. A burst of smoke passed, and a samurai sword appeared in Yellen's right hand. He raised the sword and pointed it at Sasuke and said, "It's useless to say more. Let's see what information you can analyze from me when you fight me." Sasuke looked at Yellen in front of him with some uncertainty. "Don't worry, I will suppress my strength to the level of an ordinary Chunin." Perhaps seeing Sasuke's concerns, Yilan gave him reassurance. After hearing Yellen's words, Sasuke also became serious, took out his kunai, and prepared to attack. By the way, let me tell you in advance, if you cannot satisfy me, I will not allow you to take the Chunin exam, otherwise you will embarrass the Uchiha clan. Without saying anything else, Yi Lan didn't wait for Genin to take action like other instructor Jonin, but rushed directly towards Sasuke. Looking at Yi Lan coming with a sword, Sasuke's Sharingan clearly captured his movements. You can see it. Sasuke waved his kunai to block and successfully blocked the knife. Before he could rejoice, Yi Lan kicked him directly. Snap. Fortunately, his speed was not too fast. Sasuke reacted in time and blocked the attack with one hand. The kunai was still too short for a ninja sword attack. Sasuke wanted to take the opportunity to close the distance between the two parties, but Yi Lan also understood it and immediately pulled back if the attack missed. Sasuke still wanted to pursue, but was met with Yelan's slashing attack. At first, Sasuke could still block one or two, but after a while he had to give up those attacks that were not fatal to him. Fortunately, Yi Lan used the back of the knife, leaving only a bruise and pain, otherwise Sasuke would have been injured all over. Seeing that it had no effect, Sasuke took the initiative to distance himself and kept making seals with his fingers. Yi Lan did not step forward, but looked at Sasuke calmly. Fire style, the art of great fireball. Seeing the oncoming Uchiha's signature ninjutsu, Yelan shook his head. He was not a target. He started to take action when Sasuke completed the last seal. He did not use ninjutsu, but used chakra to inject his feet and ran quickly, bypassing the great fireball from the side. There was no sign of Sasuke as he avoided the great fireball. Only then did Yi Lan feel a little interested. After a quick look around and found no trace, Yi Lan raised his head. I saw Sasuke in midair throwing several shurikens and quickly throwing them at Yi Lan. Yi Lan turned a blind eye and his ninja sword directly deflected these shurikens. Sasuke couldn't adjust his position in midair, so he jumped up and waved his ninja sword at Sasuke. But Sasuke didn't panic at all. He only smiled slightly and his right hand seemed to be pulling something, causing Sasuke to move in midair. Seeing Sasuke's movements, Yi Lan was indeed surprised. Although not much, it was still a little bit. Before it was over, Sasuke waved his left hand again, and the shuriken that was deflected by Yi Lan actually flew up from the ground. Yelan hadn't used the Sharingan until now, and then he saw that Sasuke's left and right hands were tied with thin steel wires, one end connected to the big tree not far away, and the other end connected to the shuriken. Yi Lan, who was also unable to move in midair, was directly tied up by the steel wire at the end of the shuriken. Fire style, the art of fire dragon. Sasuke landed first and released ninjutsu directly on the wire wrapped around the shuriken. He saw a fire dragon rushing towards Yelan along the wire. The hot temperature rose instantly, and Yelan's face was illuminated by the flames, as if he would be swallowed by the fire dragon in the next second. Uchiha Flow, Sword Leaping Flame. A ball of flame burst out from the ninja sword in Yi Lan's hand, and he easily cut off the steel wire wrapped around his body. Sword Jump Flame is a sword technique of the Uchiha clan. It can not only attach the fire attribute chakra to the ninja sword, but also has the characteristics of wind attribute chakra, which can easily cut the steel wire. Sasuke rarely learned the swordsmanship of the Uchiha clan. He was not old enough to learn swordsmanship when the clan was still there, and the Uchiha Fugaku clan was also famous for ninjutsu, so he rarely learned swordsmanship. When Yelan landed, he didn't give Sasuke time to think. He held the ninja sword in his hand and rushed towards Sasuke like a ghost. Upon seeing this, Sasuke quickly used the substitute technique to try to avoid Yelan's attack. But Yelan had already expected it and continued to rush in the direction behind Sasuke's substitute without stopping. Fire style, Phoenix Sage Fire. Sasuke squeezed the only chakra in his body, hoping to stop Yi Lan. Sasuke had just finished forming the seal and was about to release it when Yelan's ninja sword was already pressed against his throat. Your taijutsu is so bad. The strength and speed I just used were only at the level of an average chunin, and even ninjutsu only used one. In this battle, in addition to getting the information that I am a chunin who can use the fire style ninjutsu, except, you don't know anything. If you use ninjutsu blindly, you won't have any chakra in your body. Even if you are lucky enough to defeat an enemy on the battlefield, you will be overwhelmed by the remaining enemies. Yi Lan criticized mercilessly. With Sasuke put down his hands and looked down at the ground without saying a word. He understood that what Yilan said was true. Although he felt very unhappy, he could not find a reason to refute. Take a rest and continue. Looking at Sasuke, who said nothing, Yilan understood that he had listened. How much he could improve would depend on his talent. For the next afternoon, Sasuke was practicing with Yilan. Not only is it a head-on confrontation, it can also evolve into a scenario where Sasuke sneaks up on him, or Yilan sneaks up on Sasuke, or it can be an ambush. Every time, Sasuke was defeated. Even when practicing Yelan's sneak attack on Sasuke, Yelan caught Sasuke's eyes with a simple trap and subdued him with one move. Moreover, Sasuke discovered that Yelan never wasted his energy every time he made a move, and rarely used ninjutsu. He used as much strength as he needed, but every time he was just right, leaving Sasuke in a panic. Sasuke later became familiar with Yelan's fighting style. His sharp sword skills and ghostly figure not only allowed fire style to attach to the ninja sword, but also wind release, and the blue chakra sword energy that he cut out could be used with just one strike. Split up Sasuke, who is hiding behind a tree. When Sasuke asked him loudly that this was Chunin's strength, the answer he got was that this move was ninjutsu that Yilan had mastered before he became a Chunin. If you include Sharingan, Yelan was actually much stronger when he became a Chunin than when he was sparring with Sasuke. Not long after, the sun was about to set. Yelan looked at Sasuke, who was squatting on the ground and panting, and said, "I have a mission during the day tomorrow. You can find a place to practice your own physical skills. Your physical skills are too bad. They all belong to Genin." At that time, most people didn't have much chakra and couldn't perform a few ninjutsu. Excellent physical skills are the foundation of a ninja. I'll see you again tomorrow evening. Yelan looked at Sasuke expressionlessly, and when he didn't respond for a long time, he growled, "Did you hear that?" Sasuke, who was still resting, was stunned for a moment by the yelling, and then nodded slowly. "Remember, Itachi has fallen into Uchiha, and you and I are going to get it back." Yelan finally left with these words. After hearing this, Sasuke was surprisingly not angry because of Itachi's name. Although his name has always been Uchiha Sasuke, he didn't seem to understand Uchiha. What does the three words Uchiha mean to Itachi, to Yilan, and to himself? Means nothing. "Sasuke, why are you here?" Sasuke, who had just finished picking up medicine from Konoha Pharmacy, met a familiar figure. It was Haruno Sakura, his teammate, who had made it clear that he liked him. "Why are you covered with wounds?" Sakura looked at the embarrassed Sasuke and felt heartbroken. Then she thought of something. "Is it your clan brother?" Sasuke saw that Sakura was a little irritable and was about to scold her, but then he thought of Yilan telling him that to be a good ninja, he should stay calm at all times, so he swallowed the scolding and just said, "This is none of your business." "How could it be? We are teammates, and I have decided to take the Chunin exam. Let's go together then." Sakura hadn't felt Sasuke's change yet, so she grabbed Sasuke's injured arm with both hands. "That's too much. I'm going to tell Mr. Kakashi." Looking at Sasuke's bruised arm, Sakura was filled with anger and was about to leave to find Kakashi. "No, Sakura, it's all training." Although Sasuke was surprised at why Sakura made up her mind so quickly, he still stopped her from complaining. "Are you sure?" "Well, Yelan, his training is more strict." Sasuke really didn't know how to explain it. He couldn't say that he was too weak and was beaten by Yelan with Chunin's strength. "Is that so?" Sakura was a little surprised. Sasuke seemed to have changed today. "Is the test not over yet?" This Sasuke is also pretending. Just when Sakura was nervous, Sasuke made a farewell gesture and said, "We'll see you at school in 5 days. That's it for today." Oh. Sakura waved her hand in confusion. She didn't seem to be hit by genjutsu. "Okay, it's finally done." After placing the last surveillance camera, Enko stretched out comfortably, looked at Yilan beside him and nodded with satisfaction and said, "As expected of Uchiha, he completed the task at such a speed, efficiency." In this way, the second examination room has been set up. Yilan said calmly, "Next, we just need to wait for the arrival of the candidates." "That's right, we still have several days of rest before that." "Yilanjin, do you want to go drinking with me?" Hongdu said carelessly. "Captain, I'm not an adult yet." Even though they had only been together for a short period of time, Yilan roughly understood the character of the female ninja in front of him. At best, she was bold and informal, and at worst, she was brainless. Haha, don't be so boring, Hongdu joked with a smile. Let's go, I'll treat you to a juice at the main office. Sorry, Captain, I have some personal matters here. Yellen thought of training Sasuke and it was not time to rest yet. That's such a pity. Enko thought of something and continued. When Master Hokage announced that the Chunin exam would be held, Kakashi said that some of his students also wanted to sign up, and one of them seems to be a member of your race, right? Yilan nodded. Let me think about it. What is it called, Uchiha? Sasuke. After thinking for a while, Enko finally remembered. After all, the only survivor of the Uchiha clan still caused a big sensation in the village. You're not going to go back and open a small stove for him, are you? Hongdu had already realized what private matter Yilan was talking about. It's just simple training. In fact, that kid is still far behind Chunin. I didn't expect you to care so much about your clan brother. Hongdu came again and slapped Yilan on the shoulder, as if this person had no sense of boundaries. That's how it is. If nothing happens, Captain, I will go back first. Let's have dinner after the Chunin exam is over. Yilan looked at Enko helplessly. If he wanted to integrate into Konoha and obtain more information, he would have to do everything. Although Enko is just a special Jonin, he must be trusted by the third Hokage after being arranged to be the examiner. And this is his first mission back to the village. He can't let others raise any issues. If he has more missions to perform in the future, he may be able to do as he pleases. Now he can only develop honestly for a period of time. Then it's settled. After Chunin's exam is over, I'll treat you to a treat. I've never met a teammate who can suit my liking like this. Enko patted her chest, with 2 round balls hidden in the black mesh. The object trembled and jolted twice. Yilan turned around in a hurry and said goodbye and left. Seeing Yilan leaving in a panic, Enko smiled and murmured, Uchiha is not as difficult to get along with as I thought. I feel it is much easier to get along with than Yamashiro Aoba and the others. A few days later, at a training ground in Konoha. Fire style, great fireball. Sasuke, who was making a sneak attack, jumped down from the tree where he was hiding, and fired a great fireball directly at Yilan. Is it this trick again? Although the distance was very close, he could barely avoid it. Just when Yilan skipped the fireball to look for Sasuke's traces, he realized that there was unnecessary movement behind the great fireball. In a blink of an eye, it was revealed that it was Sasuke who was hiding behind the great fireball. He covered his mouth and nose with his arms, braved the flames and walked through it, staring at Yilan with a pair of Sharingan. Seeing the Sharingan slowly turning in Sasuke's eyes, Yilan felt something bad. Genjutsu, this is not the art. This is the only technique Yilan has taught Sasuke these days. The difficulty is level C. Sasuke, who possesses Sharingan, learns it quickly. This technique can make the target think that what he is seeing is actually something else, making the opponent loss of judgment. It doesn't consume much chakra, so it's a very easy to use ninjutsu. If this technique usually doesn't affect Yilan at all, but without using Sharingan and his strength is limited to Chunin's level, this technique will still affect him for a second or two. When he had just finished untying the Genjutsu mudra, Sasuke's kunai was already hovering around his neck. This was Sasuke's first success in the past few days of training. Before he could get happy, Yilan's voice came from the woods not far away. Yes, it seems that you have made some progress in the past few days. Another Yellen walked out of the woods, and Sasuke couldn't help but curled his lips when he saw it. Just a shadow clone. Otherwise, you think you can really defeat me after just a few days of training. Besides, if you want to control your strength in Chunin, it's most convenient to use Shadow Clone. With that, Yilan untied the clone in front of Sasuke. Of course, Sasuke knew that just these few days of training were not enough, and couldn't help but said, then again, if I can succeed the first time, I can succeed the second time. Seeing Sasuke's excited look, Yellen scratched his face with his index finger and said, did you forget something? This afternoon you are submitting the application form for the Chunin exam. After hearing this, Sasuke remembered that 5 days had passed. He didn't expect it to go so fast. You can go back and sort it out first, and sign up with your teammates in the afternoon. Yi Lan ordered. Is this the end? I don't even feel like I've trained much. Sasuke felt like he was told it was over as soon as he entered the state. Don't think too much. In fact, you have made a lot of progress in the past few days. The magatama in both eyes has finally become the same. Yellen looked at Sasuke's pupils and said, and you also know how to use your own advantages to defeat your opponents. You can when it comes to judging the timing of attacks and defenses. I no longer like to fight with my brain as before, and my physical skills have also improved a bit. Besides, you are Kakashi's student. Even though we are from the same clan, I can't overstep you. Yellen continued, looking at Sasuke's somewhat confused eyes. After listening to Yellen's words, Sasuke realized that he had actually improved a lot compared to 5 days ago. He had not learned the powerful ninjutsu, and the amount of chakra had not increased much, but he was confident that he could easily defeat Wushin now. Him before. I know, thank you for taking care of me these days. Thinking of it, Sasuke still thanked the man in front of him at the end. If Kakashi and his former classmates saw this, their jaws would drop. Maybe it was Yellen's teachings that made Sasuke feel the warmth of his tribe again, maybe it was because of the same goal. Maybe it was because Sasuke knew that if the only person in the world who would not hurt him and could understand him was the man in front of him, Uchiha Yi Lan. Yi Lan unexpectedly looked at Sasuke, who was thanking him. Sasuke's face suddenly turned red after being stared at by him. He said goodbye and left quickly. Sasuke, let me tell you one last thing. Hearing Yellen's words, Sasuke stopped. Just like ninjas collecting intelligence, some intelligence is true and some is false. Every word and every piece of news we hear, you must know how to think about it in your mind whether it is true or false. No matter what you tell us how close the relationship between you and the person is, you have to understand that you can only be sure if you prove it yourself. As a ninja, you should not have the ability to think independently when encountering something. Do it again. Yellen's words were short and easy to understand, but it was not easy to do. Sasuke nodded thoughtfully and left. Not long after Sasuke left, Yi Lan looked at the dark forest and sighed helplessly. Come out, everyone is gone. Do you still want me to invite you? Oops, I accidentally got lost just now. How did I end up here? A man suddenly appeared with a head of white hair and walked over with a smile on his face. Yellen was too lazy to expose him, and the person who came was none other than Sasuke's teacher, Hitaki Kakashi. Why do I feel that you care more about Sasuke than me? Your last name is not Uchiha either. Is it the first day you came? Yi Lan complained. This is also my first time leading a team. I always have to care about my subordinates. Keep pretending. Shisui told him that Kakashi's name was cold-blooded before Yellen left the village. Yi Lan sneered. If there's nothing else, I'll leave first. Wait. Kakashi put away his smile and looked at Yi Lan seriously. Actually, what I care about now is the last thing you just said to Sasuke. What? Does Senior Kakashi have anything to teach me? Yi Lan looked at Kakashi playfully. Yi Lan, I know you have just returned to the village and what happened to the Uchiha clan has hit you hard, but I don't think you can be blinded by hatred. Revenge will have no good results. Senior, just preach to those genin. What qualifications do you think you have to teach me? Yi Lan's voice gradually turned cold. Yi Lan had actually been suppressing his feelings all this time. He understood the mystery of the night of genocide. There are too many, and it is not something that can be solved in a flash. Do you think your words are right for the 1,257 people lying in the Uchiha cemetery? Can you imagine a mother preparing a table of meals at the gate of opening with joy only to be greeted by a butcher knife? Can you imagine the old age? To the pleading of an old man who can't walk lying on the bed. A child hiding under the bed, being pulled out and then killed in front of his parents. The Sharingan in Yellen's pupils was as scarlet as blood, and his calm words telling things that make people's hair stand on end. Kakashi could only be silent about these things. He might have thought about it, but he would never face it. How can I live without avenging such a great hatred? Yi Lan ignored Kakashi. I am the evil ghost of the Uchiha clan crawling out of hell. I will offer the heads of all participants that day on the tombstone of the Uchiha clan. Kakashi returned home, called the gate of opening and said I was going home as usual. He took off his shoes and walked into the living room. After the sun went down, the shadow of the wall covered most of the living room. Kakashi was about to step forward and turn on the light when he saw that there seemed to be a shadow in the living room. Suddenly, the outside that was bright just now became dark. Kakashi, before I could realize why the sky suddenly turned dark, a huge thunder sounded across the sky. The light of lightning allowed him to see clearly what the shadow in the living room was. It was a middle-aged man who looked like him, lying on his side on the floor of the living room, with a ninja sword stuck in his abdomen. Kakashi is very familiar with the ninja sword, and this scene has always been a childhood memory that he dared not recall. Father. Kakashi woke up suddenly and sat up from the bed. Panting, he no longer had the calmness of a copy ninja in the past. I actually had a nightmare. It seems that Yi Lan's words that day still affected me. Kakashi looked out the window and found that it was already starting to dawn. The Chunin exam is today. I hope nothing unexpected will happen. Hey, Mr. Yi Lan, your clan brother seems to have started his first exam. Why don't you go check it out? Hong Do said leisurely while looking at Yi Lan sitting in front of the monitor. Captain, you are the examiner of the second examination room after all. Is it really okay to let your subordinates leave their duties without permission? Yi Lan also felt helpless at the captain who had a protruding place in front of him but didn't have much brain capacity. Well, I'm not afraid that you'll be bored. The exam should be over soon. By the way, aren't you worried about your clan brother failing the exam? Hongdu said with a smile. He seems to be the top student of their class. If he doesn't pass the first exam, he will have a different surname of Uchiha and Sharingan. He will pass even if he doesn't know how to copy. Yi Lan, who has taken the Chunin exam, not worried at all. Why did I forget about you, Uchiha and Sharingan? Just copy it. Enko then realized that the first test was the easiest for Uchiha. Speaking of which, why don't you go with me to greet the students who passed the first exam? I haven't met this year's freshmen yet, so they must be very interesting. Hongdu said enthusiastically. I won't go. Yelin felt that something bad would happen with Hongdu's brain circuitry. Let's go together and see your lovely juniors. This is also a necessary lesson in life. Maybe you will also be the instructor Jonin in the future. Let's get familiar with it first. After saying that, Hongdu hugged Yi Lan's neck and said, act like you must be with me. Yi Lan felt her neck touch something soft and blushed instantly, and said quickly, let go, I promise you. Then the first test of Chunin selection is over. Congratulations on passing the first test. Morino Ihiki said to the genin who chose to stay. The examiner of the first exam gave the candidates a choice. If they were unwilling to do so, they would leave and give up the exam and take the next Chunin exam. Those who stayed to do the last question would continue the exam. However, if the 10th question was not answered correctly, they would directly eliminated and unable to participate in future Chunin exams. This choice made many genin panic, but the last person who stayed, Ibiki, directly announced that he had passed the exam. Great, great, I passed the exam. Yeah, Naruto's hands and feet danced excitedly, but he stayed without doing a single question. He didn't expect that he could pass the first exam like this. Click. Just when Ibiki announced the end of the exam, a round object smashed the classroom glass. The items flew into the classroom and saw two kunai and a big cloth hanging in front of the desk, directly covering Ibiki. Really, it's only you. Yubixi looked at the piece of cloth in front of him awkwardly. Bang! A burst of smoke passed, and a group of Konoha ninjas stood in front of the cloth. The kunoichi in the middle was Anko, and the examiner of the second exam was written on the cloth, Mitarashi Anko, please join. Now is not the time for you to be happy. Seeing Hong Do's appearance, Yi Lan couldn't help but cover his face. He was too brainless to agree to her after all. Fortunately, he roped in other colleagues and hoped that Sasuke didn't see him. Hurry up and act quickly, the next exam will start soon. Sasuke, who was in a daze, looked at the ninja covering his face in the corner and felt something familiar. It seems that Yi Lan is also the examiner in the second examination room. That person cannot be him. Seeing the unresponsive genin, Anko raised her arms and shouted, follow me. The classroom fell silent instantly, and a group of genin stared at Anko in shock. Yelin really wanted to find a floor to crawl into now. Finally, Yibixi came out from behind the curtain and said, "Look at the atmosphere, idiot." Even Hongdu, who had always been forthright, couldn't help but blush. She had been thinking about this opening statement for many days. "Ibixi, you are too soft, there are so many candidates." But who is Hongdu? He has always been quick to adjust. "There are many excellent candidates this year. HMPH, I'll eliminate half of them for you next." Hongdu sneered. Who let this group of genin make her so embarrassed? Only then did the group of genin realize that the kunoichi in front of them was truly the examiner of the final exam. The genin finally followed Jonin's instructions and arrived at the location of the second examination room, the Forest of Death. At this time, Naruto, who was always curious, asked, "Why is it called the Forest of Death?" "Why do you say that?" "You will know soon," Hongdu said with a smile. Hearing Anko's perfunctory answer, Naruto started to get weird and imitated Anko's words, but was shocked when the kunai thrown by Anko cut his face. At this moment, Yi Lan, who was hiding in the dark, condensed his eyes and appeared behind Hongdo in an instant. Hongdo also reacted and took out another kunai and looked behind him. Yi Lan was about to grab the examinee's neck when he saw the examinee stop, stick out his tongue half a meter long, hold the kunai and say, "Give the kunai back to her." Hongdu smiled and took it and said, "Thank you so much." "You're welcome." Although he said this, the genin looked at Yi Lan meaningfully. A very uncomfortable feeling. Yi Lan slowly let down his guard. After all, this is Konoha, and even shadows from other countries need to be careful when they come here. Looking at Sasuke, who was not far away, he nodded to him and then disappeared in front of everyone. That guy is so fast, even if Sharingan is turned on, he can't catch it at all. It seems that my practice is still not enough. Sasuke, who is that? Sakura had also met Yellen, but she didn't expect that he was the examiner in the second examination room as Kakashi said. She didn't seem to see him at the end of the first examination room. "Nana, Sakura, did you see that the examiner just now was so handsome? I couldn't even see that action clearly. He doesn't seem to be much older than us and is already an examiner, so he must have become a chunin. I didn't expect that he could still be here today. See the handsome guy," Ino said infatuatedly after Yi Lan left. "Ah, yes, but I'm Jonin." Sakura couldn't help but tell her when she saw that her nemesis was sick again. Jonin, how did you know?" Ino put her finger to her mouth and thought, "Just now I saw that he seemed to be nodding in your direction. Do you know him?" As she spoke, Ino grabbed her rival Sakura's shoulders and shook her. "Tell me quickly, what kind of person is that?" "Ah, I'm not sure. Sasuke is familiar with him," Sakura said after she couldn't stand being shaken. When Ino heard that Sasuke was familiar with her, she started to get entangled again. She was a little embarrassed to ask Sasuke for information about a boy. After all, Sasuke was also her boyfriend. Then Hongdu began to introduce the rules of the second exam. Simply put, each team takes a scroll, and the scrolls are divided into two types, heaven and earth. If you want to pass the second exam, you need to possess both heaven and earth scrolls and reach the 120-hour mark. The tall tower in the middle of the examination room, so that the examination is completed. After introducing the rules, each team entered the examination room from a different entrance, and the second examination officially began. Chapter 11. When the guy in front of him, who didn't know whether he was a man or a woman, released strong murderous intent, Sasuke immediately understood that this person was not something he could deal with. Sakura had collapsed on the ground, unknown liquid leaking from between her legs, and Naruto didn't know whether he was alive or dead. Sasuke gritted his teeth and held the kunai tightly, the Sharingan of the two Magatama turning wildly in his pupils. "Oh, can you still move? Sasuke-kun, you really surprised me." The male-female voice sounded again. "Then what are you going to do?" Sasuke hugged Sakura and ran away as fast as he could. "Run away directly." The man stuck out his tongue and licked his face. "Huh, listen to me, Sakura, that person is an existence that we absolutely cannot deal with. There is no chance of winning, at least Jonin's existence." Sasuke panted and said to Sakura in front of him, "You run away now. Let's go to the gate to find the examiners and tell them what's going on here." "No, it's best to find Yi Lan and let him solve it." Sakura looked at Sasuke blankly. The little girl still hasn't reacted yet. Did you hear that, Sakura? Where are you going, Sasuke-kun? A voice that made Sasuke's hair stand on end sounded from his ears again. It was the person just now. Hongdu, something happened. While Anko was drinking red bean soup leisurely, a Chunin ran over. When Yilan was still confused, Hongdo rushed back not long after, looked at Yilan with a serious look and said, "There are dangerous elements in the examination room, very powerful. I have informed Mr. Hokage and transferred Anbu. Now if you want to chase him, come with me." Anko understood that most of the examiners in the second examination room were Chunin. Orochimaru, one of the Sannin, was no different from Genin. The only one he could rely on was Yellen. "I'll look for that entrance directly. I'm faster than you, and Sharingan is useful for finding people. I'll send you a signal if I find it." Yilan packed up his ninja bag and agreed directly. "Okay, just, Orochimaru looked at the berserk Naruto in front of him and cast the 5 elements seal directly on his stomach. Naruto's berserk chakra disappeared directly, and the whole person fell asleep directly. Hateful. Sasuke saw that Naruto, who had just arrived, was easily eliminated, and he felt strong hatred for his own weakness. Fire style, Phoenix Sage Fire Technique. Sitting still and waiting for death is not Sasuke's choice. Since he can't escape, he should fight to the death. Then let's play with you, Sasuke Orochimaru thought after seeing the resistance. Orochimaru easily dodged Phoenix Sage Fire, got close to Sasuke and directly attacked Sasuke's head with his fist. So fast, but barely visible. Sasuke kept blocking Orochimaru's attacks, and Orochimaru's attacks were getting faster and faster, just like a cat teasing a mouse, and Sasuke gradually couldn't keep up with his rhythm. Sasuke, when you encounter someone who is much stronger than you and find that your eyes can't keep up with their movements, don't rely too much on Sharingan. Think more about where the enemy will attack you. Although the human body has many weaknesses, when the enemy attacks with a force that exceeds your dynamic vision, there will inevitably be slight movement of the airflow, just defend to that place. At this time, Yilan trained Sasuke and said the same thing, but not much. This was still too difficult for a genin like him. The main goal at that time was to defeat Yellen, who was a powerful Chunin. Recalling Yellen's words, Sasuke gave up using Sharingan to observe, slowly closed his eyes, carefully sensed the flow of air, and gradually blocked Orochimaru's attack. It's interesting, being an Uchiha doesn't just rely on Sharingan. Sasuke, you really satisfy me. Orochimaru discovered that Sasuke's actions did not disrupt his offensive rhythm. He wanted to see what other surprises Sasuke could bring him. I felt the direction of the enemy's attack. Legs, arms, chest, back of head, next time straight ahead. At this moment, Sasuke opened his eyes and looked directly at Orochimaru, launching the genjutsu he had just learned. What? This brat can still use genjutsu. Orochimaru did not expect that Kakashi would teach a genin to use such a high-level genjutsu. Looking at the Sharingan in front of him reminded him of a shameful memory. Orochimaru paused obviously, and in less than half a second, Sasuke seized the opportunity without using ninjutsu, clenched the kunai in his hand and stabbed Orochimaru directly in the chest. Just when the kunai touched Orochimaru's skin and penetrated less than 2 millimeters, Orochimaru suddenly reacted and kicked Sasuke away. Puff! This kick was much heavier than Orochimaru's previous attack, kicking Sasuke so hard that he vomited blood and lay on the ground without getting up for a long time. HMPH, the Uchiha clan is known for playing tricks that don't make sense. Orochimaru walked up to Sasuke and said, he was really angry just now. At this time, the sound of a fuse sounded, and a detonating talisman was attached to Orochimaru's back. This kid, it was when he stabbed me with a kunai just now. Orochimaru remembered that there was something wrong with the way Sasuke stabbed him just now. It's not up to you to judge the reputation of the Uchiha clan. Sasuke stood up with force. The art of shuriken. Sasuke threw out the shuriken, which was wrapped with steel wire, 1 layer, 2 layers, 3 layers to wrap Orochimaru around the branches of a big tree. Fire style, Dragon Flame Jutsu. A fire dragon hit Orochimaru directly along the wire, and Orochimaru let out an inhuman scream. Sasuke could see that the skin of Orochimaru, who was hit by the fire dragon, began to melt and be scorched, and he began to let go of his suspense. In this way, he finally won. Sasuke, great, we won. Sakura cheered immediately upon seeing this. Sasuke was about to smile at Sakura when he noticed that the body that had been burned by the dragon flame technique began to speak. The voice was no longer the male-female voice just now but a hoarse and old male voice. As expected of a descendant of the Uchiha clan, he looks so much like your brother, Sasuke. There was another person inside the burnt corpse, and the burnt skin was peeled off to reveal his original appearance. Who are you? Why do you know my name and Itachi? Sasuke had always had a question in his mind, and finally got the chance to ask. My name is Orochimaru, and I also know that you want to kill Itachi. But you can't do it with your current strength. Will Sasuke follow me? I will give you the power to kill Itachi. Orochimaru's voice. There seems to be some kind of magic that tempts people's deepest desires. What a joke. How could I follow someone like you? Sasuke was not fooled by the words anyway. I knew you would say that, so today I will give you a gift first, so that you can try the feeling of having power. As he said Orochimaru's finger seal, he saw his neck lengthen instantly, and he opened his bloody mouth and was about to bite Sasuke. Go. Uchiha flow, I flow, wind injury. 3 huge slashes that broke through the air cut through a large area of trees and slashed towards Orochimaru's neck. Orochimaru gave up. Sasuke spit out a sword from his mouth, barely resisted it, and shortened his neck back to his body. Orochimaru stared at the damaged area of the tree with an ugly expression, and saw a figure appear. I didn't expect the examiner in the examination room to react so quickly. It seems that I have been away from Konoha for so long, and some good ninjas have appeared. Orochimaru said with a calm smile. In his opinion, the only other examiner in the examination room was him. Apart from Anko, the disciple, there are just some special jonin and there are no powerful characters. What qualifications do you, a dirty bug hiding in the corner, have to say such a thing? It seems that some people have forgotten my name since I left the village for so long. Orochimaru has never been so disrespected by others, and he has already thought about how to teach this ninja a lesson. When Yellen came to Sasuke, Orochimaru's eyes widened. He couldn't believe why the ninja who came had a Sharingan from the Uchiha clan or a 3 Magatama. Sasuke, take your teammates and leave here first. The person in front of you is not a candidate. This is not something you can solve. Yilan then took out a signal bomb and launched it directly into the sky. Sasuke finally felt relieved after seeing Yilan. He understood that the matter was finally resolved, but he still told Yilan, this guy's name is Orochimaru. He knows about Itachi and my existence, and he attacked us directly for some reason. Orochimaru, Yilan thought of this person. In fact, he didn't know this person very well. When Orochimaru rebelled from the village, Yilan was only 3 or 4 years old. He only knew from the clan records that this person was one of the Sannin, 9 Tails. He defected not long after that night. He was also an S-class rebel ninja in Konoha and was very powerful. Who are you? There are no survivors of the Uchiha clan except Itachi and Sasuke. Orochimaru really couldn't believe that there were other Uchiha still alive, and they didn't seem to be very old. Sasuke was very familiar with him, and he was only 10 years old. He looks like 5 or 6 years old. Yilan now suddenly felt that something big would happen in this Chunin exam. He looked at Orochimaru and just said, I am just an evil ghost from the Uchiha clan who climbed up from hell. Orochimaru was not satisfied with Yilan's answer. When he saw Sasuke pulling up Sakura and about to leave, he immediately attacked Sasuke. Latent Shadow has many snake hands. Orochimaru stretched out his right hand, and several pythons came out of his cuffs and attacked Sasuke at extremely fast speeds. Uchiha Flow, Halo Dance. Yilan stood in front of Sasuke, his ninja sword ignited with flames, and several flaming shock waves directly intercepted Orochimaru's attack. The python was chopped into several pieces and turned into ashes and fell to the ground. Don't waste time here, go quickly. Yilan looked back at Sasuke and urged. Sasuke understood that he could not help at all now, so he and Sakura picked up the sleeping Naruto and fled as quickly as possible. Sneak Snake Cage. Orochimaru's attack just now was just a feint. After using the latent multi-snake hand, he continued to form seals. He slapped one hand on the ground and saw something sneaking on the surface. As soon as Yilan turned around, Several big snakes broke through the ground directly under his feet, came out and wrapped tightly around his body. Bang! The body that had just wrapped around Yilan turned directly into a piece of wood, which was a substitute technique. To Orochimaru's surprise, a 3 Magatama Uchiha ninja was not dealt with so quickly. Uchiha style, violent wind sword. Yellen appeared behind Orochimaru. The ninja sword not only had huge flames but also dangerous wind roars. He aimed a powerful slash at Orochimaru's neck. Clang! Orochimaru reacted quickly and directly blocked Yellen's ninja sword with Kusanagi sword. However, the flame attached to Yellen's ninja sword was not extinguished so easily, and the reduced power of the flames passed by Orochimaru's face. Orochimaru felt the hot flames, and his face couldn't help but look sad. He knew that this kind of swordsmanship of the Uchiha clan was a very difficult ninjutsu. Yilan's expression did not change even after the attack missed. He did not continue to attack but instead opened the distance between him and Orochimaru. No matter how careful you are against an opponent like Orochimaru, you cannot be too careful. Now Sasuke should have left some distance away, and he only needs to hold Orochimaru and wait for Anko and Anbu to arrive. Seeing Yellen taking the initiative to distance himself, Orochimaru was not in a hurry but thought for a while and said, "Very beautiful Uchiha swordsmanship. The last user was a master who was famous in Uchiha. Let me think about it, his name is Uchiha Shisui." Orochimaru observed the boy in front of him, hoping to see if his expression had changed so he could get some useful information. To his disappointment, Yellen's expression did not change at all. It seems that Kabuto needs to be asked for information about him. Seeing that he couldn't produce any information, Orochimaru chose to take the initiative this time. He pulled up his sleeves and used his bitten fingers to draw a mark on the arm where he had already drawn the technique. Psychic technique, Big Snake. A burst of smoke passed, and several large snakes appeared at his feet. Under Orochimaru's command, they all pounced on Yilan in front. Yellen quickly formed seals with her fingers, ending with a noon seal. Fire style, extinguishing the fire. Flames all over the sky spurted out from Yellen's mouth, forming a firestorm directly in front of him. The big snake that moved forward was burned to death without much roar, and the remaining snakes fled to all directions. The fear of death made them refuse to obey orders. The forest of death, where trees were originally densely populated, turned directly into a sea of fire, and the temperature of the air instantly became hotter. Before it was over, Yilan increased the release of chakra, and the flame in his mouth quickly changed from red to white. This was a sign of the sharp rise in flame temperature. When dry trees encountered flames, they no longer simply burned but emitted bursts of violent energy, explode. The purpose of Yilan's doing this was also to warn the candidates not to go to this place and attract Anbu's arrival. Water style, water barrier. Orochimaru's face turned ugly when he saw such a terrifying fire style. He didn't expect that the young Uchiha was so strong. He hurriedly used a water-style ninjutsu to temporarily block it, then softened his bones and burrowed into the soil. Bang! The sound caused by the flames being extinguished could be seen by most of the examination room. Sasuke, who was leaving, looked behind him not far away in surprise. Unexpectedly, Yilan's battle with Orochimaru was more intense than the last battle he participated in with Zabuza. At this time, Sasuke discovered that there was a group of people running desperately not far from them, and they were about to meet him and Sakura. Sasuke couldn't help but feel a little anxious. His situation was very bad now. Naruto was unconscious again. Sakura, forget it, the situation was not good anyway, so he had to shout before anyone else. Who is where? He hoped that others would not dare to fight them rashly after observing the explosion. The group of people paused but walked in his direction. Just when Sasuke and Sakura were nervous, a familiar voice rang. Sasuke. Then he saw that it was his former classmates, Shikamaru, Ino and Choji. Seeing that they were familiar classmates, Sasuke and Sakura lowered their guard. Why are you in such a mess? Shikamaru couldn't help but said when he saw Sasuke's group of people. He couldn't help but smile bitterly when he thought of the terrifying explosions and huge waves of flames behind him. You don't know anything about what happens next, do you? There was a dangerous Jonin sneaking into the examination room, and we almost lost our lives when we encountered him. Sasuke explained, but did not stop. let's stay away from that place quickly. Shikamaru knew that this was not the place to talk, and followed Sasuke's footsteps closely. A guy as energetic as Naruto was knocked unconscious. I can imagine the danger you encountered. How did you escape? The examiner from the examination room arrived in time and now we are fighting against that dangerous guy. Sakura said with lingering fear. As the examiner that Anko. Ino from the side interrupted. It's not the male examiner you met Ino, his name is Uchiha Yellen. Surprisingly, Sakura didn't quarrel with Ino. Uchiha, Shikamaru and others' expressions changed. Sakura didn't know much about the Uchiha clan, but they had heard it from the adults at home. That person is Sasuke's clan brother. I heard from Mr. Kakashi that he just returned to the village recently. Sakura continued to explain when she saw that Sasuke's expression did not change. Shikamaru and others all looked at Sasuke. They had never heard of such a thing. Feeling a little uncomfortable being stared at by everyone, Sasuke said, the things over there are not something we genin can get involved in. We'd better find a place to rest now. The flames swept across the earth, and a large area of the death forest directly turned into an open space. When the flames on the surface gradually became smaller, Orochimaru broke out of the ground, and saw traces of white smoke coming from his body. It seemed that it was not easy underground. It's been a long time since he was so embarrassed. Once again, he had almost morbid thoughts about the Uchiha clan. Array of 10,000 snakes. At this moment Orochimaru finally used his ultimate move, and he became serious. He opened his mouth and neighed, and then countless huge pythons poured out of his mouth. These pythons twisted their bodies in the air and stabbed at Yellen like thousands of sharp swords. Their speed was extremely fast, and they were in front of Yilan in the blink of an eye. When Yilan saw this scene, his face was expressionless and he quickly made seals with his fingers. Water style, the art of waterfalls. The sky was full of flames before, but this time it was a huge wave. Yellen's ninjutsu and Orochimaru's 10,000 snakes array collided with each other, causing huge water splashes. The temperature in the air dropped again, and the group of mouth-sucking people. The python with the sharp sword was also washed away without a trace, and the huge wave continued to rush towards Orochimaru without stopping. Spirituality, triple Rashomon. 3 huge Rashomon rose from the ground. The waterfall only broke through the first layer before the Rashomon was blocked. Orochimaru stood on the Rashomon and looked at Yellen sternly. Latent Shadow Snake Hand. At this time, a latent Shadow Snake Hand attack came towards Orochimaru. It was Anko who had just arrived. Orochimaru dodged the attack as if he had expected it. Anko didn't give up and stabbed Orochimaru directly with the kunai. Orochimaru made a mark with both hands and roared. Drink. Anko, who was still moving forward, directly covered her neck and fell to the ground. It was the curse seal Orochimaru had placed on her before. The person who was cursed by the seal could not resist Orochimaru at all. Anko, you are a jonin after all. Wouldn't it be ridiculous to use the ninjutsu I taught you to deal with me? Uchiha Ryu, Wo Ryu, Shoryu no Flame. The ninja sword in Yellen's hand turned into a fire dragon, and the fire dragon roared towards Orochimaru, causing waves of heat wherever it passed. Orochimaru saw this and quickly dodged. However, Yellen's offensive did not stop. The fire dragon circled in the air and turned in one direction to continue attacking Orochimaru. Facing Yellen's fierce offensive, Orochimaru kept dodging, while secretly sighing in his heart that the boy in front of him was so powerful. Finally, Orochimaru had an idea, picked up the body of the big snake and threw it directly at the fire dragon controlled by Yilan. The two collided with a huge explosion, and the smoke in the sky directly blocked the sight of both parties. Yilan took the opportunity to come to Hongdu and asked, "Captain, how are you doing?" "It's okay, he's not dead yet." Hongdu thumped the ground in annoyance, but she didn't expect that her arrival not only failed to help, but also hindered her. The smoke cleared and Orochimaru disappeared without a trace. When Yilan was feeling confused, he suddenly felt chakra fluctuations under his feet. He immediately thought of Hongdu's danger, turned around and hugged Hongdu without hesitation, and wanted to evacuate quickly. However, at this moment, the ground under Hongdu's feet suddenly cracked, and a big white snake came out of it. What is frightening is that the head of this big snake is somewhat similar to Orochimaru. The big snake quickly wrapped around Yellen and Hongdu. "Anko, you are indeed my apprentice. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have succeeded so easily. This big snake actually spoke human words, and it was obviously Orochimaru himself. Then, Orochimaru, who turned into a white snake, looked at Yellen and said, compared to Itachi, you are far behind. The gift I originally planned to give to Sasuke, I will give it to you this time. As he said that, Orochimaru opened his mouth. Bite Yilan fiercely. At this critical moment, the three Magatama Sharingan in Yilan's eyes rotated rapidly, and the three Magatama transformed into the shape of four sword blades, arranged in a cross shape around the pupil. These eyes. Orochimaru saw the change in Yilan's eyes, and a strong sense of crisis suddenly surged in his heart. His body was wrapped around Yellen and Anko, and flames shot up from his body instantly. The hot temperature of the flames forced Orochimaru to loosen his bonds. For the first time since returning to the village, Yellen used his Mangekyo ability, Left Eye, Betsuden Gochu. Isn't he afraid that the flames will burn him? Orochimaru's face was a little dry due to the heat of the flames. Yellen, who was surrounded by flames, had no expression on his face, and Hongdu, who was already unconscious, did not show any signs of discomfort. Mangekyo Beten Gochu can control all the chakra in the body at will, change the chakra into any form, and release ninjutsu without the need for seals. It is more powerful. It can also cover the whole body with fire or other attributes of chakra without harming itself. When Yilan was on a mission in the Kingdom of Water, a storm at sea overturned their ship. After Yilan witnessed his teammates dying one after another, his survival instinct made him awaken this pair of Mangekyo. The flames on his body slowly extinguished. Yilan stood in front of Orochimaru intact. Putting down the unconscious Anko, Yilan said lightly, let me be a little more serious next. As soon as he finished speaking, Yellen's figure disappeared in front of Orochimaru. So fast, instant body technique. Flying Thunder God. With Orochimaru's eyesight, he couldn't catch Yilan's figure, which made him suspect that Yilan used Flying Thunder God. Bang! There was a sonic boom in the air. This was truly an effect produced at extreme speed. Yilan was able to achieve such a fast speed because he used the wind attribute chakra in Lieutenant General Tianyu's body to completely attach to his body surface, allowing his body to the air as completely free of wind resistance, and the effect achieved by letting all the wind drive him to run. In a sense, his speed at this moment is faster than the Flying Thunder God. After all, the Flying Thunder God has to throw kunai, and the speed has exceeded kunai. After all, Orochimaru is a ninja who has experienced many battles. Even if he cannot observe his opponent with the naked eye, he can still detect the approximate location of the opponent's chakra with his keen perception. He held the Kusanagi sword in his mouth, turned around in a strange posture, and quickly attacked Yilan behind him. However, although the Kusanagi sword successfully cut Yolan in half, Orochimaru felt no joy at all. Because he discovered that the sword blade did not have the real feeling of touching the flesh, and the corpse that was cut in half did not shed a drop of blood. Just like burning paper, it disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye. To the left, above. Every time Orochimaru swung his sword, he hit the false Yilan. Each time he failed to hit the entity, he gradually realized that something was wrong. Could it be said that he has fallen into genjutsu? At this moment, in an instant, figures of Yellen emerged from all directions, as if countless Yellen were attacking Orochimaru at the same time. Orochimaru showed a sly smile. He firmly believed that only the Yellen above was the real body. So, he no longer paid attention to the other figures of Yellen, and concentrated his strength to thrust the Kusanagi sword towards Yellen above. Uchiha flow, I flow, fast and lightning. Yellen thought silently in his heart, and the figure stabbed by Orochimaru disappeared just like before. Orochimaru looked at the other figures of Yellen in disbelief. Under his surprised eyes, the other Yellen's ninja swords all swung at Orochimaru, and the ninja swords the chakra condensed with the wind attribute cut open his skin easily, and Orochimaru, who looked like a white snake, was chopped into pieces in an instant. In the end, Orochimaru looked at Yellen with disbelief. With his knowledge, he could not understand the principle of this technique at all. You are useless in front of these eyes, Yilan said slowly. Yilan's pupils slowly turned into their original black color. He put away his ninja sword and turned towards Anko, who was still lying on the ground. Just when he was about to wake Anko up, he suddenly looked at Orochimaru's corpse behind him. The broken pieces of the corpse, the blocks quickly gathered together and transformed directly into Orochimaru's form. Can't he be killed like this? Yellen didn't expect Orochimaru to be so difficult to deal with. All he can say is that he is worthy of being a Sannin. Just when Yellen was about to launch an attack, Orochimaru activated his psychic technique with an ugly expression, and several more big snakes appeared between the two of them. It's not that Orochimaru doesn't want to channel all the snakes, he can barely channel now, but if he can channel all the snakes again, he might not even have the chakra to escape. After using the psychic technique, Orochimaru turned around and ran away. He knew that he couldn't continue to waste it anymore. He had other things to do. After Yilan easily dealt with these big snakes, he stopped looking at the direction in which Orochimaru was escaping. Although he could continue to chase him, he was a special Jonin in Konoha. He should leave this kind of thing to others. Orochimaru should no longer cause trouble in the Death Forest. Looking at the ninja sword that was already full of gaps, he sighed. He didn't expect Orochimaru's Kusanagi sword to be so sharp. It seemed that he had to find a way to get a new ninja sword. Captain, wake up. Looking at the sleeping Hongdo, Yilan bent down and patted her face gently. After a while, Hongdu slowly opened his eyes, and his consciousness gradually recovered, but he still seemed a little confused. However, when she woke up completely, she suddenly jumped up as if she had been awakened. Where is Orochimaru? Where is he? Enko looked serious, her eyes full of vigilance and nervousness. She looked around, as if looking for something. Looking at Hongdu's serious expression, Yellen said casually, Orochimaru has escaped, I can't keep him. Yellen lied. He could defeat Orochimaru and the village would probably pay attention to him. He only hoped that it would reduce other people's attention to him. After all, he didn't know what role the village played in the night of genocide. Run away. Hongdo looked at Yilan in surprise. She couldn't believe that Orochimaru would lose. As a former disciple of Orochimaru, Hongdo could clearly know Orochimaru's great achievements in the past. Yilan was not born when Orochimaru became famous. Today he actually lost to this 15 or 16-year-old boy. At the end of the fight, neither of us could subdue the other. I guess we felt that if we stayed here for too long, we would wait for our people to come, so we evacuated. Yilan quickly explained because he was afraid of this situation. That's awesome. Apart from Hokage, I can't think of anyone in the village who can stop Orochimaru one-on-one. Although Yellen explained this, Hongdu still didn't hold back his surprised expression. Where are the other two Sannins? Yellen asked casually, not knowing the situation of the Sannins. Since Orochimaru was one of Konoha's former Sannins, the other two Sannins would definitely be able to deal with Orochimaru. Oh, those two adults haven't returned to the village for a long time. Enko sighed. Forget it, I'll go to Hokage to report. Orochimaru must have a purpose in coming to the village. You can come with me. The other two Sannin have left for a long time. This information is unknown to Yilan. So how much strength does Konoha have now? Orochimaru, Chunin joint examination. If there is any trouble on the Sunagakur side at this time, then for Konoha had a devastating blow. Yellen doesn't believe in the so-called allies at all. According to the records in Konoha books, Sunagakur and Konoha have been sworn enemies since the Second Ninja War. The hands of both ninjas are stained with the blood of the other ninja. The hatred between the two sides is not a paper covenant can bind it. What about the examination room? Are we still going to let those genin take the exam? Yilan stopped thinking and asked. With Orochimaru gone, what Anbu are there? I'll ask the remaining Chunin to keep an eye on it and there shouldn't be much of a problem. After all, ninjas from other countries are participating in this joint exam. Even if the exam is stopped, Master Hokage's consent must be obtained. But your battle was too big. Your fire style almost burned the forest of death into a plain of death. After Orochimaru's pressure was gone, Enko returned to her original personality. You know, how can I hold back against a ninja of this level? Yi Lanyan said insincerely, it seems that it will take a long time to repair. It's not a big problem. There will be special people to repair it later, and it will be back to its original state in less than a month. Hongdu comforted with a smile. Can this forest be restored in less than a month? Yi Lan suppressed her curiosity and didn't ask any more questions. Does the curse mark still hurt, Anko? Hiruzen Sarutobi asked, looking at the marks on Anko's neck. Thanks to you, it's much better now. I didn't expect you to meet Orochimaru. I heard that he is already dead, right? Said Izumo Kamizuki, who was with Hokage at the side. But luckily you guys are okay. I don't know what purpose Orochimaru had when he appeared in the examination room. Gangzati will not be absent wherever Kamizuki Izumo is present. Thanks to Yellen this time, otherwise I wouldn't have been able to stop Orochimaru. Hongdu said, looking at Yellen aside. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Yilan in confusion. Orochimaru was his disciple. He knew best what his strength was like. He didn't expect that the 15-year-old Yilan could fight against him. Orochimaru just doesn't dare to stay for a long time, otherwise I won't be the loser until the end. Yilan explained on the side. Hearing Yilan's admission, Shenyu Izumo and Gangzati both looked at Yilan. They knew Sanin's name, but they didn't expect Yilan to be able to fight with him. It seemed that he had not suffered any losses. I don't know what Orochimaru's purpose is in returning to Konoha. Anko murmured. It's Sasuke, Yilan said directly, although I don't know the specific reason. When I arrived, Sasuke was fighting Orochimaru. At that time, he seemed to be doing something to Sasuke. Now I see the curse on the captain. Yin, I think that's why he found Sasuke. When the others heard what Yilan said, their faces became serious, and then Yilan continued, when I first arrived, Orochimaru was sticking out his head and biting Sasuke's neck. Now it seems that it is the location of the captain's curse seal. Is that really so? Sarutobi Hiruzen gradually agreed after hearing Yellen's statement. He knew very well that his disciple had an obsessive research on certain blood-stain boundaries. This time, he was probably targeting Sasuke, and then asked. Yellen, did Orochimaru successfully plant the curse seal at that time? No, I interrupted his technique. Hearing this, Sarutobi Hiruzen breathed a sigh of relief, and then said to Yellen, after the second exam, you go to Sasuke to guard him. I'm afraid Orochimaru will take action again. I will tell Kakashi about this. Yes, will the exam continue? Anko asked directly after hearing that Hokage's tone did not mean to end the exam. Well, let's continue. Let Yellen stay with Sasuke, and add Kakashi. Even if the two of them can't beat Orochimaru, they won't lose. Let's see if he makes any further moves. Hiruzen said, taking a deep breath from his cigarette. In the end, Hiruzen gave some instructions to Anko and then dismissed everyone. He took his pipe and came to the window. Looking at the night outside the window, he couldn't help but fall into deep thought. Although Orochimaru was his disciple, Hiruzen had never really understood him. 5 days later, the second exam finally ended. Because there are too many people left at the end of the second game, some people have to be eliminated before starting the third test. All those who pass the second test need to have a one-on-one duel in the tower in the center of the Death Forest, and the winner can enter the third exam. Before the third preparatory exam, all the examiners in the exam room and the instructor Jonin came here. Yellen stood next to Anko, while Hokage gave a speech in the middle, telling the genin who took the exam the meaning of the Chunin exam. After Hokage finished his speech, the examiner of this exam, who was also the referee of the genin duel, Tsukiko Hayate, appeared on the scene and announced the start of the exam while coughing. Looking at him like this, I'm really afraid that he will fall down at any time. Yilan complained. Well, he has been in poor health since he was a child, but his strength is actually quite good. Kakashi said from the side, holding a novel in his hand, with 18 banned words clearly written on it. I didn't expect you to have such a hobby, Kakashi. Want to kill time when you're bored? Kakashi-sensei, Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura all came to Kakashi. Hey, congratulations on passing the second exam. He, Naruto giggled at the side. Thank you, Senior Yellen. Sakura bowed and thanked him immediately after seeing Yellen. If it weren't for Yellen, she wouldn't have known how to face Orochimaru. Sasuke also nodded. It's nothing. I'm the examiner for the second session. I should do everything I should. Yilan waved his hand casually. Ah, Sakura, why did you say thank you to him? Naruto still didn't understand what was going on. Idiot, the Orochimaru we met back then was a dangerous ninja, not a genin at all. In the end, it was Yellen Senpai who saved us. Sakura said, punching Naruto in the head. Seeing them fighting, Yilan felt that Orochimaru should not have left any shadow on them. What happened to Orochimaru? Sasuke asked from the side. Seeing that he couldn't take me down, he finally evacuated. There were other Jonin here, Yellen just said. Is there no winner? Sasuke whispered. You are the Uchiha Yellen who beat Orochimaru away. I didn't expect young people today to be so exaggerated. At this time, a loud voice came over. It was Kakashi's lifelong rival, Metkai. Hitting me away is too flattering. Yilan didn't want to attract other people's attention. You bravely saved the lovely Genin from the evil ninja. I, Kai, already recognize you. Kai said as tears flowed out uncontrollably, as if Yilan had done something extraordinary. Looking at Yellen, who was a little embarrassed, Kakashi said, this is just how others are, don't take it too seriously. While he was talking, the big screen showed the first duel, Sasuke vs. Red Copper Armor. Sasuke, it's you, Naruto shouted. It's so annoying, I heard that. Sasuke still couldn't stand Naruto. Being the first to appear was a good time to rest early. He was exhausted from 5 days of wilderness survival. HMPH, Uchiha Sasuke asked me to deal with you. After the two parties came to the hall, Red Copper Armor said provocatively. HMPH, you are not ashamed of your words. After the Moonlight Hayate announced the start, the two sides began to take action. Sasuke did not approach the opponent rashly but kept testing with shurikens in hand. The copper-armored hands held the kunai tightly, constantly resisting Sasuke's attacks, and at the same time quickly approaching Sasuke's direction. As the distance got closer, he did not choose to stab Sasuke with his kunai, but instead freed one hand and tried to catch Sasuke. However, Sasuke's reaction was extremely quick. He quickly dodged sideways and easily avoided the catch. Mr. Kakashi, will Sasuke win? Sakura asked directly without seeing any clue. Well, as long as Sasuke isn't careless, it should be fine. Kakashi looked at the two people in the audience and said. The opponent's intention is too obvious. His free hand should be ninjutsu. Sasuke will win if he understands it. Yellen explained at the side. Is that so? Naruto turned to Kakashi and asked. It should be like this. Kakashi said casually. Yoshi. Naruto took a deep breath and said loudly, Sasuke, be careful of the enemy's free hand. That hand should be the enemy's special move. You guy. Kakashi, who didn't care about other people's eyes, felt embarrassed and covered Naruto's mouth without even reading the book. You are in Gon Shenmue, Kaka sucks Rouse. Naruto was covered and speechless. Don't interrupt when others are taking the exam. Do you want Sasuke to be disqualified from the exam? Kakashi whispered. Everyone else looked at Naruto. Kakashi quickly raised his hand and said, don't mind if the kid talks nonsense. Your companion seems a bit crazy. Yellen had never seen such a weird boy before, and complained to Haruno Sakura next to him. Naruto, he's like this sometimes. Sakura said awkwardly, rubbing her head. The two people who were fighting in the examination room paused when they heard Naruto's words on the stage. Sasuke also glanced at Naruto awkwardly. In fact, he didn't need to say that he also felt that there was something wrong with the opponent's attack method. When Red Copper Armor heard that someone had exposed his background, he suddenly became anxious, so he decided not to conserve his strength and attack with all his strength, trying to succeed immediately before Sasuke could react. The Copper Armor's attacks became more and more fierce. Although Sasuke tried his best to resist, he was still caught in the flaw and grabbed his shoulder. Just when Red Copper Armor thought he was about to succeed, he happened to meet Sasuke's eyes, a pair of two Magatama Sharingan staring at him. Red Copper Armor suddenly felt that his consciousness was blurred and his body was shaking uncontrollably. Genjutsu, the wrong technique here. Red Copper Armor suddenly lost consciousness, and then Sasuke finished his opponent with a lion combo. Winner, Uchiha Sasuke. Moonlight Hayate then announced that Sasuke had advanced. As expected of Sasuke, he won so easily. Ino said happily when she saw that Sasuke won without any effort. He is worthy of the Uchiha clan. Standing next to Kai, Neji folded his hands on his chest and closed his eyes. You taught Sasuke the genjutsu just now, right? Kakashi looked away and asked Yilan. It's just some simple genjutsu. It would be abnormal if the Uchiha clan couldn't even use genjutsu. Yellen said casually. Well, the actual use of chakra is just right and there is no waste at all. Sasuke already looks a bit like a chunin. Originally, Naruto was a little happy to see that Sasuke had won, but when he heard Kakashi praising him, Sasuke felt a little unbalanced and said, I will win as cleanly as Sasuke in the future. Yeah, try your best, Naruto. Kakashi comforted Naruto like a child. Sasuke, congratulations. Seeing Sasuke come back, Sakura stepped forward to congratulate him. Yellen frowned. He keenly felt something strange, but he didn't care about the joy of everyone. He looked beyond the crowd and looked directly at the stands opposite. There, a Jonin wearing a sound nin forehead protector was sitting there quietly, staring at Sasuke intently. Yilan felt a strange feeling in his heart. His intuition told him that this person seemed to have some kind of intention towards Sasuke. His body quietly tensed up, ready to deal with possible dangers at any time. At this moment, the sound ninja seemed to notice Yilan's gaze and turned his head to look at Yilan. The two people's eyes met, and Yilan saw the cold light flashing in the other's eyes and the weird smile that slightly turned up at the corners of his mouth. This guy, Yilan murmured to himself. He knew that this person was definitely not a kind person and would probably bring them trouble. However, when he wanted to remind Kakashi, he found that the other party had turned away and disappeared into the crowd. What? Did you notice anything wrong? After hearing Kakashi's words, the three Sasukes also looked at Yellen. It's nothing, I think I saw an acquaintance. Yilan said casually, not wanting too many people to know. The sound ninja just now should be the Orochimaru he fought against before. He couldn't remember the aura wrong. Kakashi heard that Yellen didn't want to explain too much and didn't continue to ask. He looked at the big screen on the court again. The second exam is about to begin. Let's see which genin can pass. The next game was between Aburame Shino and Genin, one of the three sound ninjas. With the Aburame family's secret technique of controlling insects, Shino successfully won the game. What is that? It's disgusting, Naruto said after seeing Shino's fighting style. The secret technique of the Aburame clan is to use chakra to control insects to fight. Not only that, the most outstanding thing about the Aburame clan is reconnaissance and tracking. It will be very easy to obtain information if there is an Aburame clan teammate on the battlefield. Yilan told Sasuke and others explained that generally those who take the Chunin exam are the elites of each village, and they will show a village's unique fighting style. Regardless of whether they pass the exam or not, their vision will be greatly improved. Shino is seen returning to the team, and his teammates are a girl with Byakugan and a genin with a puppy. It seems that their team is very unique. It has gathered ninjas from several families with the strongest investigative power in the village. Yilan whispered, Hokage's division of classes makes some sense, but Sasuke's two teammates have not yet been what can be seen as a fairly smart but ordinary girl and a carefree Naruto. I don't know what shines in them. The next battle was between Sunagaku's Kankuro and his red copper armored companion Ken Maikung. Just when Ken Maikung thought he was going to succeed, he discovered that he had only been controlling the opponent's puppet for a long time, which made Naruto yell. Kakashi, you should give your students extra lessons. How did this guy graduate from the ninja school? Yellen looked at Naruto's clueless look and said, this child's personality feels a bit like Anko, not even less reliable than Anko. Spectrum. Kakashi laughed when he heard this. He also understood that Naruto's basic skills were poor. It seemed that he would have to give Naruto a good lesson later. But an opponent like this is really not easy to deal with. If you want to deal with the opponent, you must first deal with the opponent's puppet. Sakura said worriedly when she saw that the players on the stage all had their own fighting methods. It's actually easier to deal with the puppet master than the true body, but generally the puppet master will not expose the true body. Just like the boy from Hidden Sand Village, he hid himself in the props from the beginning so that others could not detect it. However, after all, the puppet master has to control the puppet, and through careful observation, he can find the opponent's true body through the chakra line. Yilan said this mainly for Sasuke. It is actually difficult for ordinary people to observe the chakra line, but it is different for them with Sharingan. After all, the puppet master is probably most afraid of meeting a ninja like you. Kakashi interjected, and everyone else looked at him to see how he would explain. Sharingan and your sword skills are probably the last opponent the puppet master wants to encounter. Yellen didn't refute. A ninja like him could easily cut off any chakra thread with Sharingan. A puppet master without a puppet was like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered in front of him. Before anything else could be said, it was Sakura's turn to play. Her opponent was Ino, her former classmate and now her rival. Looking at the two girls fighting on the field, Yilan frowned and said, "Kakashi, you are such an ordinary student." Well, Sakura's advantage is her learning ability, but she is indeed lacking in practical combat. Then you have to find a way to teach something. You are a bit unqualified as a teacher. Let's talk about it after the Chunin exam is over. After all, I haven't taken them for a long time. I'll understand it first and then find a way. Logically speaking, Yilan is his student's parent. Although it's not Sasuke, Kakashi's is the same. When teaching students, he didn't want Yilan to think that his teaching ability was not good because of Xiao Ying. After Ino complained that Sakura only cared about taking care of her hair and did not study ninjutsu seriously, Sakura resolutely cut off her long hair with a kunai to show her determination to become a ninja. For a girl who loves beauty, cutting off her beloved long hair is undoubtedly an extremely difficult thing, but Sakura made such a decision without hesitation. This move surprised and admired Ino, and at the same time inspired her inner fighting spirit. Ino originally thought she had the upper hand in this competition, but Sakura's firm attitude made her realize that she cannot underestimate her opponent. So, Ino cut off her long hair without showing any signs of weakness under the surprised eyes of others to show that she was equally determined and courageous. In this way, the two girls reached a tie in this overwhelming situation. Perhaps because of their mutual sympathy, the two bitter enemies finally reconciled. Sakura, she lost to that guy Ino. Naruto scratched his hair in distress. A ninja of this level can only go so far. At this time, most of the jonin present thought that Genin's battle was no different from children's playhouse to them. Ninjas without family background did not have any trump cards at all. It only depended on whether the leader jonin paid attention to his teachings. The next scene was still two female ninjas, one was a Konoha genin with a bun, and the other was a Sunagaku kunoichi carrying a fan. The name of this Konoha genin is Tiantian. Her clothes remind Yellen of the traditional clothes of his country in his previous life, and he can't help but cheer up and observe. "Come on every day, show them your strength," Metkai and Xiao Li, who looked like him, shouted loudly. "It's so noisy." Naruto covered his ears. A child with his personality would still think others were noisy. Tiantian showed off her unparalleled arsenal, throwing kunai, shurikens, maces, sickles, maces and other weapons at her opponents as if they were free. This girl's fighting style. Yilan saw it. No matter how strong Tiantian was, her family must be very rich. Tiantian's fighting style looks very gorgeous, but her opponent picks up her exaggerated fan and opens it one by one. This genin named Temari is very good at using wind escape, and with the blessing of that weapon, she can easily defeat Tiantian. Attack. After Tiantian threw all the ninja tools, Temari used wind release to directly deal with her. Looking at the unconscious Tiantian, she threw them into the pile of ninja tools that Tiantian threw. At this time, Tiantian's companion Xiao Li couldn't help but jump down. The stands hugged Tiantian. Pointing at Temari and accusing the other party of going too far, it was his teacher who stopped Xiao Li. "What, you're still doing this even though you've already won?" Naruto whispered from the side. Yilan was too lazy to complain about Naruto. A ninja who grew up in peacetime could never imagine that a life of life and death was the normal state of ninjas. On the battlefield, you can't tell the opponent not to kill me when you lose. Please show mercy to the other party. After a duel between Shikamaru and a female sound ninja, it was Naruto's turn to play. Seeing Shikamaru cracking the opponent's genjutsu through his own IQ and handsomeness, and using his family's shadow imitation technique to win the victory, Naruto clasped his hands and prepared to go on the court. He thought of a move, let's watch him perform it next. And his opponent is the genin with the dog, Inuzuka Kiba. "Come on Naruto." Sakura cheered Naruto without losing the match. "Hey, don't lose, Cranitail." Sasuke also cheered in his own way. Seeing the names of both parties on the big screen, Yilan had some doubts. Only then did he know Naruto's surname Uzumaki. What made him even more confused was that this kid obviously had yellow hair. Was it just a coincidence? Naruto, I didn't expect that my opponent would be you. Yashen felt lucky. He felt that he had drawn the best lottery, as if Chunin's spot was already within reach. I'll show you my new moves, Kiba. Naruto responded unceremoniously. How could anyone come up and tell the opponent his trump card? Kakashi was also helpless towards Naruto. As the game started, Kiba's pet dog Akamaru turned into his appearance. The two used Yato, and Naruto was unable to fight back. The strong attacks made Naruto fall down again and again, and he had no chance to use ninjutsu. Naruto's injuries became more and more serious, but like Xiaoqiang from Immune to Death, he could stand up every time. Kakashi, is this kid from the Uzumaki clan? Yellen asked directly after seeing Naruto's endurance. Hearing Yellen's words, Sasuke and Sakura both looked surprised. In their understanding, Naruto was an orphan without any relatives, so why did he appear as a member of the Uzumaki clan? Well, to a certain extent, Naruto is a member of the Uzumaki clan. Kakashi thought for a moment and admitted directly. What kind of existence the Uzumaki clan is? It's not mentioned in the school textbooks. Sakura asked anxiously. It turned out that she was the only one in the team with the most ordinary background. Even Naruto, who was an orphan, had a background. It's normal that you haven't heard that the Uzumaki clan perished decades ago. When it was most prosperous, there was still the Uzumaki village. In the end, it was wiped out by other ninja villages during the war. The remaining minority people were all scattered in the ninja village. Across the world, there are very few people from the Uzumaki clan in the ninja world now. Yellen explained, the Uzumaki clan is born with strong physical recovery ability, perception ability and huge chakra, and their grandmaster seals ninjutsu, was a very powerful family. Don't count on sealing techniques. Naruto doesn't know anything about ninjutsu. All he has left is rough skin and thick flesh. Kakashi said, looking at Naruto who was being beaten all the time. That's right, judging from this guy's character, he is not the material to learn sealing techniques. Uchiha, Uzumaki and a girl with a good mind, Yilan also got to know a little about the class led by Kakashi. Just when everyone thought that Naruto would be killed by Ya in the end, Naruto used a transformation technique to transform into Ya, causing him to stop attacking. Kiba smiled disdainfully when he saw this, saying that his sense of smell was 10,000 times better than that of ordinary people, and he easily saw through Naruto's transformation. As a result, Kiba was punched and turned into Akamaru. When Kiba thought he had guessed wrong, he turned back attacking another one turned into Akamaru too. Akamaru was knocked down at the beginning because Naruto was hit. At this time, he finally seized the opportunity to use the inspiration he just got from Sasuke's Lion Bomb. Using Shadow Clone, several clones kicked the teeth into the air, and Naruto the human body used a finishing blow on top, named Naruto's combo. This kid seems to have a bit of fighting IQ, but every time he figures out how to fight after being beaten. Fortunately, he is from the Uzumaki clan, otherwise Genin would have been eliminated long ago. There is also the so-called Naruto combo, which has always been copied by Uchiha from others, but now someone is copying Uchiha, and even the names are similar. Yilan found that this yellow-haired boy was somewhat interesting. Well done Naruto, Sakura shouted when her companions won. Naruto also gave a thumbs up to his companion. The big screen on the field rotated rapidly. There were not many ninjas left, and soon their names appeared. Hyuga Hinata vs. Hyuga Neji. When the two parties walked to the venue, Hinata said hello first and directly called Neji his brother. Are they siblings? Naruto, who had just returned and greeted Hinata, couldn't help but ask. Well, the relationship between Hinata and Neji is a bit like Sasuke and Yellen. They are both from the same clan. The difference is that they are the clan house and the branch house respectively. Kakashi explained. Oh, this is the structure of the Hyuga clan. Yellen said contemptuously. Uchiha was born not to deal with the people of the Hyuga clan, not to certain people in the Hyuga family, but to their methods of managing the family. Let's talk about the Zong family and the branch house. Seeing Yellen's disdain, Sasuke and others had questions. At this time, Shaoli said, families with a long history like Hyuga and Uchiha have unique secret techniques. It seems that the clan has formulated many rules for the inheritance of secret techniques, and most of the rules themselves are in favor of the clan. This creates a lot of conflicts between the branch house and the clan. Neji as the branch house and Hinata as the clan. So this is a duel of cause and effect, Sakura said thoughtfully. When Hinata and Neji stood on the stage, the two sides did not start the duel directly. Neji kept using words to attack Hinata. Why are you not suitable to take this exam? You are a person with low self-esteem. You said it was just because of your teammates. I only took the exam according to the requirements. Life is destined to be your destiny. You are the eldest lady of the Zong family, and I am just a member of the branch house. Hinata just retorted in a low voice, which further fueled Neji's arrogance, and what he said became more and more excessive. Byakugan. As he spoke, Neji formed a seal in his hand, and the blood vessels around his eyes bulged, revealing a pair of white eyes. Sasuke and others saw the Byakugan for the first time, and they didn't know what the Byakugan did. Like Uchiha's Sharingan, Byakugan can observe the opponent's taijutsu, and ninjutsu is better than Sharingan in observation. When combined with the Hyuga clan's taijutsu, it can cause greater damage. Kakashi explained. For the Sharingan that has not grown into a 3 Magatama, the Byakugan is relatively strong, but once the Sharingan evolves into a 3 Magatama, most Hyuga ninjas cannot deal with it. At first, the Uchiha clan suppressed the Hyuga clan. Yellen thought so. Neji was still mocking Hinata, as if he had seen through her heart and recounted her cowardly psychological activities. Hinata was as unable to refute as a wounded puppy. Don't criticize other people's hearts at will, idiot. Naruto was still holding the medicine Hinata had just given him in his hand. Naruto couldn't stand it and yelled. Get rid of that self-righteous guy, Hinata. This kid, Yi-Lan looked at Naruto who was yelling beside him, was different from ordinary people in some aspects. Hinata seemed to have listened, and she made the same gesture as Neji, and her eyes opened directly. Regardless of the verbal exchange, in the end it was her subordinates who saw Junjong. However, the strength gap between the two sides was still too big. Hinata could still attack at the beginning, but later she was beaten by Ninki. The arm that was lifted up by Nechi was full of traces of injuries from gentle fist. Even so, Hinata could not without giving up. This seemingly cowardly girl let others know herself again. In the end, Ningji successfully hit Hinata's heart with one move. Hinata could no longer stand up, and Moonlight Hayate announced the end of the game. Then Naruto on the stage yelled for Hinata to stand up again. Hinata, who stood up, pointed out the confusion in Ningji's heart. He became angry and directly attacked Hinata, who was seriously injured. This time all the Jonin mobilized to stop him. Neji. Is this special treatment from the Zong family? Neji said angrily. Kai on the side was trying to persuade her, while Hinata's instructor, Jonin Yuhi Kurenai, observed Hinata's injuries. This kid, if Hinata really wants to defeat him, a single seal will solve the problem. Yellen said in a low voice without stepping forward. Why do you say that? Naruto didn't believe that one seal could defeat such Neji. If according to what you said, Hinata is a member of the clan, then I tell you that the clan has absolute power to kill people in the branch house. Once the people in the branch house reach a certain age, they must put a curse mark on their bodies. People in the branch house, when you die, this curse seal will automatically trigger the destruction of the Byakugan on the corpse. This is a way to protect the Byakugan from leaking out. As a member of the Uchiha clan, the mortal enemy of the Byakugan clan, Yi-Lan knows Hyuga's rules very well. The Hyuga clan actually has such rules. How did Sakura and others know this kind of information in the village? Not only that, in order to successfully control the branch house, people in the clan will master the triggering method of the curse seal. They only need to form a seal to trigger the branch house's curse seal. Once the branch house is triggered, people in the branch house will be worse than dead, but not there is a risk of death if you lift it quickly. This is too much. Sakura covered her mouth, unable to believe that such a thing existed in the village. There is nothing we can do about it. Unlike Sharingan, Byakugan is very adaptable. The underground bounty outside the village has a lot of money for Byakugan. Yi-Lan explained. Putting a curse seal on a clan is something Uchiha doesn't even bother to do. Sasuke hates what the Hyuga clan does. Speaking of which, I remember what the curse seal is called. It seems to be called a caged bird. It's a little bird locked in a cage. It's really appropriate. Next, there are only 4 contestants left who have not yet taken the stage, followed by Rock Lee vs. Gaara Sunagata. Yoshi, Lee, let them see your strength. Kai raised his thumb to Xiao Li, showing his big shining teeth. As expected, I still can't accept this style. Yi Lan looked at the master and apprentice with tears streaming down their faces and complained inwardly. After Xiao Li came on the stage, he directly launched a fierce physical attack on Gaara. As a result, Gaara's sand was completely blocked and did not hurt him at all. Then Xiao Li listened to Gai's words and unloaded his own burden. When others did not, just when they thought it was true, the weight was thrown to the ground and the dust was so exaggerated that everyone shut their mouths. Xiao Li's speed increased to the point that other genin could not observe it at all. Gaara's sand could not react at all, and he would be hit by Xiao Li every time. But this kind of attack is far from enough. In addition to the defense of sand around Gaara's body, Gaara also has sand armor attached to his body. Xiao Li's attack cannot break Gaara's defense at all. Xiao Li has no choice but to use Lotus Hana attacks Gaara, and when the release is complete it is discovered that his attack was just a clone of Gaara. This kid is outstanding in physical skills, but his weaknesses are also huge. Yi Lan commented while looking at the 2 fighting men. Why do you say that? Sakura, who had some friendship with Xiao Li, asked. Because I only know physical skills. Once this kind of opponent loses strength when fighting, his combat effectiveness will plummet. It seems that he has no strength after he just performed the move, you see. After listening to Yelan's words, Sakura looked at Xiao Li who was in the field. Xiao Li didn't even have the strength to escape and was only attacked unilaterally by Gaara's sand. How could this happen? I still had the advantage just now, Xiao Ying said as she looked at Xiao Li who was beaten up. No, Li will not give up easily. He has his own determination. Seeing Xiao Li being beaten, Kai didn't worry at all. Next is when youth will burst out. 8 gates. Dunjia's 3rd gate, Gate of Life, opens. I saw an astonishing chakra erupting from Xiao Li's body. His face turned red, his hair stood up, and an astonishing aura erupted from his body. Kai, you taught this child such a dangerous technique. Kakashi had already lifted his forehead protector, revealing the Sharingan, and was observing Xiao Li's every move. 8 gates. Dunjia, this is the first time Yi Lan has heard of this kind of ninjutsu, which can actually burst out with such power. However, it seems that this technique has great side effects and is not suitable for him, and he already has other Tian Yuzhong. Although it also has side effects, but 8 gates. Dunjia means little to him. Awesome, I didn't expect Xiao Li to be so strong, and Gaara are both very strong opponents. I don't know who I will encounter them next. Sasuke has already opened Sharingan, observing every move of both sides. Neither of them is easy to deal with, and they may be his opponents next. It's not over yet. The 4th gate, Gate of Pain, opens. The chakra on Xiao Li's body skyrocketed again, and then he kicked Gaara's chin at an extremely fast speed, and Gaara was kicked directly into the air. So fast, even with Sharingan activated, Sasuke couldn't clearly see Xiao Li's movements. If Xiao Li attacked him, he wouldn't be able to react. Then Gaara was kicked around in the air by Xiao Li, and the armor formed by the sand on his body kept falling off, making him unable to fight back. Isn't this enough? The 5th gate, Gate of Limit, is open. Xiao Li loosened the bandage on his hand, wrapped it around Gaara's waist and threw him violently from the air to the ground. The smoke splashed up so that everyone could not open their eyes. It's over, Xiao Li lost. Yi Lan closed Sharingan, he had already seen the result. How could it be? Naruto and the others couldn't believe that Xiao Li could lose like this. The smoke dissipated, and Gaara was seen lying on a piece of sand, while Xiao Li had already retreated from the 8 gates dungeon state. Gaara directly used the sand to twist one of Xiao Li's arms and one leg. Seeing that Xiao Li was still struggling, Gaara continued to control the sand to attack Xiao Li. At this time, Kai went directly to the game and scattered Gaara's sand. He understood that Xiao Li had lost and Xiao Li's life would be in danger if he didn't come back. Then Moonlight Hayate announced Gaara's victory, but Li stood up and assumed a fighting posture despite losing consciousness. This scene made Kai hug Li tightly, and tears kept falling down. This time Yi Lan didn't feel any discomfort. Although Xiao Li was a genin, he could do many things that Jonin couldn't do. Kakashi, there is something wrong with that child. While Naruto and others were paying attention to Xiaoli's injury, Yilan walked to Kakashi and whispered. It's unmistakable, that child is Sunagaku's Jinchuriki. Yellen believed in his own eyes, even though it was very little, there was a trace of chakra that did not belong to him leaked out when Gaara was fighting. Are you sure? Kakashi knew that this was no small matter. Other ninja villages actually sent Jinchuriki to take the Chunin exam. What exactly did Sunagaku want? I'm sure you need to understand that I'm from the Uchiha clan. After the preliminaries, I will report to Master Hokage. This kind of thing is not a trivial matter. Kakashi said seriously. Once something like Jinchuriki breaks out, Jonin won't be able to deal with it. He's afraid that Sunagaku has other purposes. Kakashi was silent. There were not many people in the village who could deal with the tailed beasts. If the Jinchuriki really broke out, they would probably have to count on Yellen. After all, he was from the Uchiha clan. Naruto and others were shocked when they learned that Xiaoli might not be cured and would give up his identity as a ninja. It was the first time that a good friend was leaving his ninja career due to injury in front of them, and a group of people became silent. Naruto began to yell, he could not accept such a thing. Sasuke was okay but did not speak. Sakura covered her mouth and cried. Calm down, Naruto. Kakashi stepped forward and covered Naruto's mouth. But Mr. Kakashi, Xiaoli clearly said that hard work can defeat geniuses, but he hasn't proven it yet. Naruto's emotions began to collapse. This is unacceptable, kid. You should be glad that you live in a peaceful era. Yilan said from the side, and everyone else looked at him. Death is normal for ninjas. I have personally seen my teammates and people are dying in front of me, but I can't do anything about it. If you don't want to do it, just bring the wishes of that boy with thick eyebrows and work hard together. Quote. Senior Yellen didn't look much older than us, but he had experienced something like this. Sakura was shocked by Yellen's words. Looking at Naruto's unwilling gaze, Yellen continued, I'll tell you that all the Jonin present have experienced the death of their companions. They don't tell you because they don't want to untie their own scars. We can only carry the will of others with us. Live. Stop talking about Yellen, it's too early for them. Kakashi stopped him, he didn't want his students to have any psychological problems. After hearing this, Yellen shook his head helplessly. Kakashi said that they were no longer students but his subordinates, but in his heart he still regarded them as children. He himself went to the battlefield when he was younger than them. Peace has lasted for a long time. Will change a person. As the last game ended with Oto Ninto's defeating Choji, Hokage appeared in front of people again and announced that the third test would officially begin a month later. It would also be a one-on-one showdown, but in addition to the ninjas present, there would be nobles from various countries came to watch. I hope that everyone can improve their strength within this month and show it to everyone in the best condition. A few days after the second exam, the Hokage reconvened the Jonin from the village to the Hokage building. Yesterday Anbu discovered the body of Moonlight Hayate. Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was sitting in the middle, said seriously. Could it be Orochimaru? Enko on the side felt that Jonin, who was able to stay quietly in the village, was the biggest suspect, Orochimaru. No, I asked Hayate to follow Kabuto the pharmacist. He was a target of suspicion, but I didn't expect that I actually harmed him. Hiruzen blamed himself a little, but he quickly put away his sad expression and said seriously, according to Anbu's report, Kazushini uses a powerful wind escape. The opponent is at least a Jonin-level master. It is most likely done by Kabuto Yakushi or his associates. It is not certain that it is Orochimaru. We must be prepared for other enemies. Quote. The final stage of the Chunin exams will be in 1 month. Nobles from other countries and Cage will arrive soon. Konoha's alert is at its highest and I will instruct Anbu to participate in this security process. Everyone should not relax their vigilance. Then Hiruzen made a series of arrangements, and Jonin who received the order left one after another. Finally, Hiruzen left Yellen behind and said, Yellen did a good job blocking Orochimaru's plan last time in the Forest of Death. This is what I think about. The reward will be given to you later. After saying that, he picked up a scroll and handed it to Yellen. Yellen was a little surprised after taking it and opening it. He didn't expect that Hiruzen would give him this ninjutsu as a reward. Master Hokage, this technique is from second Hokage. Hiruzen waved his hand. You are a descendant of Kagami, Shisui's younger brother. I'm really sorry about Shisui. He is a good boy. He has been working hard for the harmonious coexistence between Uchiha and the village. Now you are the only one left in the Uchiha clan. And Sasuke, I hope you can inherit his will. Yilan was silent. There were too many questions about Shisui's disappearance. The reason why he stayed in the village now was to find out the real reason why the Uchiha clan was exterminated. From his behavior of casually wearing Konoha forehead protector and never wearing a ninja vest, it can be seen that he actually has no nostalgia for the village. Looking at Yellen, who was silent, Hiruzen sighed. I understand that you are a little concerned about the Uchiha clan, but now is the time when the village needs strength the most. I must unite everyone in the village. Yellen, just treat it as an old man's request. Looking at Hiruzen, whose face had grown old Madara, Yellen nodded. Master Hokage, what do I need to do for this Chunin exam? Hearing Yilan's answer, Hiruzen showed a smile. Kakashi has already told me that there is a student taking the exam in Sunagaku, Jinchuriki. I trust your judgment. On the day of the competition, I need you to judge that student at the venue. Jinchuriki will supervise and take action immediately if there is any violence. The village cannot accept the destruction of Jinchuriki. Quote. Hiruzen then gave a few more instructions, and Yilan took his leave and left. Hiruzen, is it really okay to give the teacher's technique to that child? Kaharu said after Yellen left and went to bed. Whether it's Kagami or Shisui, we owe too much. We can't let the two remaining Uchiha feel cold anymore. Sasuke hasn't grown up yet. We need Yellen's power. Perhaps because of his age, Hiruzen's mood has changed a lot. The heart becomes soft. If Jiraiya and Tsunade were here, how could we be so passive? I don't know where those two guys are now. Mito Kadoyan said angrily. Sarutobi Hiruzen was silent when he heard the names of his other two disciples. None of his disciples could inherit his mantle and all left the village. From a certain aspect, he was a real failure as a teacher. Yo, Yilan. As soon as Yilan left the Hokage building, he found Kakashi waiting for him at the door. I have something to discuss with you. Kakashi's eyes were wandering, and he didn't dare to look directly at Yilan. He seemed to have made up his mind before continuing. You know there is still 1 month left before the final exam. I plan to tell Sasuke special training is going on, but Naruto, who also passed the budget, has no one to teach him. Can you? No. Before Kakashi could finish speaking, Yilan rejected him. It's not that I don't help. Naruto's personality is inherently incompatible with mine, and my fighting style is seriously inconsistent with Naruto's. Do you expect him to learn my fire style or sword skills? Can you imagine Naruto fighting in the same way as me? Is that true? Kakashi was also worried about Naruto. And that child's foundation is so poor that he can't even master chakra well. If it's teaching, I would rather teach Haruno Sakura, another girl in your class. Seeing that Kakashi was a little discouraged, Yilan also said comfortingly, maybe it was because of Sasuke, the relationship between the two has improved a lot. Are you willing to teach Sakura? That's settled, Kakashi said directly by borrowing the donkey from Paxia. Quote. Sakura doesn't need to participate in the competition, what should I teach her? Besides, Sasuke doesn't need me. You have to know that Orochimaru's target is Sasuke. Can you stop Orochimaru by yourself? Yellen didn't expect Kakashi to go directly. Such a decision. Sasuke, don't worry, I will find a hidden training place, and there will be some Anbu to help. It shouldn't be a big problem. Sakura just didn't pass the exam, so I want her to study further, but I don't have much time to teach. Don't worry, Sakura has a good foundation and a strong learning ability, but her fighting thinking is a bit stiff and she lacks some means to determine victory, so just follow the instructions. Kakashi said quickly. Tomorrow I will ask Sakura to go to the training ground to find you. You must come. Before Yellen could react, Kakashi turned into a ball of smoke. It turned out that what was left here waiting was just one of his shadow clone. This guy seems to have had this plan for a long time. Yilan thought helplessly, it seemed that he could only take one step at a time. Early the next morning, Kakashi took Sakura to Konoha's training ground. Xiaoying, you have to study hard with Yilan. This is what I finally made him agree to. With your learning ability, your strength will soon improve. And although Yilan is not much older than you, his strength is they are the strongest group of people in the village, so don't worry about this. Kakashi told Sakura. Teacher Kakashi, is Senior Yilan so powerful? Sakura only saw Yilan take action twice in the Forest of Death, so she didn't have a clear understanding of Yilan's strength. That's quite remarkable. Yilan already went on an S-level mission when he was 2 years younger than you. The Orochimaru you met in the Death Forest was an S-level rebellious ninja in Konoha. Even I can't guarantee that. Can completely block him. Kakashi said. In fact, this time is not only special training for Sasuke, but also starting to train himself. Yilan's strength and the situation of the village have put a lot of pressure on him. Senior Yellen is so powerful. Speaking of which, why is there no one in the training ground? He won't come. Kakashi thought a little awkwardly as he looked at the empty training ground. You are really good at making decisions for others without permission, Kakashi. Just when Kakashi didn't know how to continue talking to Sakura, Yellen finally appeared in front of them. Ha ha ha, you're here. Sakura, call the teacher. Kakashi scratched his head awkwardly and said with a smile. Yilan, teacher, Xiaoying said looking at Yilan who was 2 or 3 years older than herself. No need, I'm too young to be a teacher. Yellen waved his hand, making Kakashi and Sakura think that he did not agree to teach. Just call me brother like Sasuke. Although I have never heard that kid call me that. But Sakura, my training is very strict. Even Sasuke couldn't stand it at first. Have you made up your mind? Hearing Yellen say this, Xiaoying was a little overwhelmed. In fact, she was not under pressure to participate in the competition now, and training was not an urgent matter for her. But when she thought that she had been protected by Sasuke and Naruto in the Forest of Death, she had been unable to do anything. Both of them had passed the pre-selection and she didn't know what to do. Thinking of this, the confusion in Xiaoying's eyes gradually became determined, and she looked into Yilan's eyes and said, Brother Yellen, I have made up my mind. Sakura, do you understand what direction you most need to practice now? Yellen asked directly after Kakashi left. Sakura shook her head. Ninjutsu, genjutsu, and taijutsu. In fact, what you need most now is to exercise your body. Girls are born with less physical strength than boys, and taijutsu is also very important to genin. What you need most now is improve your physical strength. Yellen pointed out Xiaoying's current shortcomings. Starting from today, you will run 10 kilometers and swim 3 kilometers every day. After you finish, I will teach you other things. 20 kilometers of running, 5 kilometers of swimming. This is a bit too much training for a girl. After doing this every day, she still has the energy to learn other knowledge. This is just the beginning and will gradually increase. Not only that, you can't use chakra, you have to rely on your own physical strength to complete it. Yilan will not supervise Sakura, it all depends on Sakura's own consciousness. I understand. Sakura didn't expect such rigorous training. Go ahead and come to me when you're done. I'll wait for you at this training ground. After Yilan said that, he no longer cared about Xiaoying. At his current age, when his strength is growing rapidly, he can't stop. One's own practice. Sakura took a deep breath and encouraged herself secretly. She knew that this training was to improve herself and become a better ninja. She stepped forward and began a long run. Every step was filled with determination. Yellen came to the lakeside of the training ground and opened the scroll handed to him by Hiruzen Sarutobi. There were 5 ninjutsu in it, all of which were B-level or above in learning difficulty. What came into view were Water Style, Tianchi, and Hard Cut. Water Blade, Water Dragon Bite Explosion, followed by second Hokage's original chakra perception technique, Dark Walking Technique. Water Style is not mentioned for the time being. After successfully practicing the chakra perception technology developed by the second generation project, you can even perceive chakra thousands of miles away. However, no one can practice to the level of the second generation project. Yilan does not expect much, it can cover hundreds of thousands of miles. He was satisfied within the scope. The Dark Act is an A-level genjutsu, which can be said to be a second generation genjutsu that is specially designed to deal with Sharingan. It is a very useful technique to close the opponent's line of sight and completely plunge the opponent into darkness. Let's start with chakra perception. After reading the scroll, Yi Lan closed his eyes and began to release his chakra for perception according to the method on the scroll. Sakura didn't finish training until the evening. When she came to the training ground out of breath, Yellen had already started to prepare to leave. Have you finished training? I thought it would take a few days for you to finish. Yi Lan said, sit down first. Sakura sat on the ground casually following Yi Lan's words. She was curious about what ninjutsu Yi Lan would teach her. Yellen slowly raised his right hand, and at the same time reminded Sakura to carefully observe his hand movements, and emphasized that chakra must be concentrated in the palm of his hand, but it should be noted that too much chakra cannot be concentrated, can only be concentrated bit by bit. Sakura watched Yellen's every move with concentration, then imitated his gesture and raised her right hand. This process was not difficult for her as she had already mastered certain ninjutsu techniques and chakra control abilities. Then put your hand on your other arm, slowly release your chakra, and let the chakra stimulate your muscles. Will doing this improve my physical strength? Sakura asked curiously. It's just to relax your muscles better. Your muscles must be tense after exercise. If you don't want to be unable to get up tomorrow, do as I say and use chakra to stimulate all the places you exercise. Yi Lanmian said expressionlessly. Xiao Ying blushed after hearing this. She understood that Yi Lan taught her this because she felt that he could not help her relax her muscles with his own hands. Seeing that Xiao Ying had already learned, Yellen stood up and said, let's get here today. If you want to learn more, complete the physical training earlier every day. Yes. Sakura dusted herself off and left. The next day, Xiao Ying arrived at the training ground half an hour early. When she arrived at the training ground, she found that Yi Lan was closing her eyes tightly, squatting on the ground, pointing a finger on the ground and not knowing what she was doing. Sakura didn't dare to interrupt and just watched from the sidelines. Here we come, Yi Lan said directly before opening his eyes. Sakura was surprised but nodded. Yi Lan took out a card from his ninja bag and threw it directly at Sakura and said, this is chakra paper. It is a paper used to detect the properties of chakra. Inject a little bit of your chakra into it. After hearing this, Sakura directly followed the instructions and slowly poured her chakra into it. Half of the chakra paper became wet and half of it crumbled. Water style and earth style. Yi Lan touched his chin and said, what I'm good at are fire style, water style and wind escape. I also know some earth style, but I'm not as good at water style. Which one do you want to learn? Kind. If Xiao Ying was asked to choose, she didn't know. She looked at Yi Lan with some confusion. Water style is famous for its wide attack range, but most of them require a very large chakra. Earth style is famous for defense. Yellen saw that Sakura still had some doubts and continued, learning that kind of ninjutsu actually depends on your fighting skills. Method. Sakura, what do you think is your ideal fighting method? Seeing that Sakura was still a little embarrassed and didn't know what to say, Yellen said directly, once everyone's fighting style is decided, it is difficult to change. You'd better express your inner thoughts. Sakura's face turned a little red and she said coyly, I hope that when Naruto and Sasuke quarrel, they can pull away from each other and punch both of them in the head. Is that so? Yi Lan thought for a moment and pointed at the tree not far from them. If that is Naruto Sasuke, what do you think about me doing this? Yellen ran quickly to the tree, making several marks on his fingers in the process. When he reached the tree, he raised his fist and smashed it towards the tree. In Sakura's surprised eyes, the tree was directly blasted into two halves. I want to learn this. Sakura was excited inwardly. When Yellen turned around and saw Sakura's sparkling eyes, he knew that she had decided on her own fighting style. This technique is called Earth Style, a hardening technique. Strengthening your body through Earth Style can not only enhance the power of your physical skills, but also strengthen your defense, allowing your body to reduce physical damage. It is a very practical ninjutsu. Yi Lan said. Sakura nodded. She wanted to learn this. She had already imagined Naruto and Sasuke being beaten up by her. Learning this technique requires fine control of chakra. You need to cover the surface of your body with your chakra. If you don't have enough chakra, it won't last long if you use it directly. It's best to just cover yourself when attacking. Use your fists to cover the attacked area when defending, which can save a lot of chakra. Yi Lan explained. Then Yellen explained to Sakura how to practice and control his chakra to cover his body. Sakura was worthy of being a top student. After Yellen explained it once, she understood the principle and was able to start practicing alone. If Naruto didn't know how long it would take to be disabled, time. The days passed like this, and half a month passed in the blink of an eye. Xiaoying was finally able to complete the physical training before 2 o'clock every afternoon. Then, under Xiaoying's surprised eyes, Yellen prepared weight-bearing leggings for her. Fortunately, it was not Xiao Li. It was just 2 5-kilogram leggings, but it made Sakura very tired, and her speed suddenly slowed down a lot. In order to seize the time to practice ninjutsu, Sakura got up early every morning and started running, instead of sleeping in. Today, when she was about to finish her running training, she met an acquaintance, her best friend Ino. "Sakura, what are you doing?" Ino asked in surprise, seeing Sakura sweating profusely. "I'm doing physical training." Sakura didn't expect to meet Ino during training and was a little embarrassed. "Training? You don't have to participate in the competition to train so hard." Ino was a little surprised. "It's because I was eliminated that I have to train, otherwise the gap will only get bigger and bigger." Sakura has regained her composure and said openly. I didn't expect you to have such an idea. Did Mr. Kakashi set a training target for you?" "It seems that Mr. Kakashi is training Sasuke, and he arranged for Brother Yellen to train me." Sakura explained. "That examiner in the second examination room. Why don't you call him brother?" This was even more surprising than Ino seeing Sakura training. "He asked me to call him that. He said that he is not much older than me. Calling him a teacher makes him look too old. Calling him a senior makes him look younger. Just call him brother like Sasuke." "I see, but you also said that Brother Yelan is not much older than you." "Can you teach me?" Ino said smoothly. "Why do you call her that? Brother Yellen is still very powerful. I have obviously felt stronger in the past half month." Sakura looked at Ino strangely. "Oh, aren't we good friends? You can call me whatever you want. You said you have become a lot stronger, but what did you teach you?" "HMPH, Sakura said when she saw a large stone not far away, "then I'll let you see it." Saying this, Sakura bent down and ran towards the rocks at a fast pace. So fast, much faster than when we competed in the Chunin exam. If nothing else, Ino was impressed by Sakura's current speed. "Watch the move," Sakura shouted, waving her pink fist, and with the sound of howling wind, she hit a boulder in front of her that was twice her size. Just hearing a loud bang, the boulder instantly turned into countless fragments, flying everywhere. Ino was stunned and secretly exclaimed, "No way. In just half a month, Sakura has become so powerful. If Sakura was this strong half a month ago, she would definitely lose." Ino couldn't help but take a breath of cool air. Sakura turned around proudly, with a confident smile on her lips, and looked at Ino. "How about it? I'm great, right?" Ino came back to her senses and praised sincerely, "That's great, Sakura. But you have simply turned into a violent woman." Upon hearing this, Xiaoying's face darkened, with an evil look on her face, and she raised her pink fist, ready to take action. Seeing this, Ino was so frightened that she waved her hands. "No, it's nothing. Just kidding. Sakura is a violent woman now, she can't be offended." Ino quickly changed the subject to avoid being beaten. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.